Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise! I hope you guys are ready. It is playoff time.
After all the hours, the weeks, the months, it's time. The journey to the grand finals rolls on.
I'm going all the way, and I'm going, yeah, my blood is rebel. I'm going all the way, I'm going to another level.
Oh, what is this?
That is brutal.
This guy is an absolute maniac.
This is absolutely insane. And the rock stars of the Overwatch League continue to crank out power chords.
Oh, snipe. You got rocked.
It's the playoffs, baby. So strap in as only the best of the best remain.
I'm going all the way, I'm going, yeah, my blood is rebel.
We know it won't be easy to hold that trophy, to wear that crown, but if you want it, come and get it.
On one side of the semi-final bracket, the NYXL awaits their next opponent today, a second quarter-final of the day. San Francisco Shock going up against the Atlanta Reign. I'm Mitch Leslie and Matt Morello. You've got to think we've got some real hot shots hitting the stage in a few moments.
Yeah, and I think outside of the New York-London match, this is the match everybody was hyped up about coming into the week. Both of these teams were tremendous in Stage 4. The Shock have been tremendous throughout the whole season. If you take a look at the bracket where it stands, like you mentioned, the Titans and the Gladiators in the top half of the winner bracket, and the winner's semis on that side, and then this will determine who plays NYXL.
Getting the 6th seed for Atlanta Reign, that is a huge feat. They snuck their way back up the standings. Look at it, Stage 4. They went 7-0, undefeated, to get into the top spot and avoid playing.
And look at the map differentials for both of these teams. I mean, tremendous. So these are your two hottest teams coming into the playoffs. I thought Vancouver played really well. I know the other day in their match, I think NYXL really just surprised just about everybody.
Bastion everywhere.
But in the last, 5-6 weeks, these are the two best teams we've had in the league. I think Atlanta really came on in Stage 4. Erster was a monster all stage.
FRD, we saw some Roadhog from him in Stage 4. That definitely made a big difference. Baby Bay coming in, at the start of Stage 4, he was being snuck in for a map here, a map there. Started to see like him and Enlair were getting a bit of a more even share of playtime. Both dominant Widowmakers, the May that was getting a lot more use alongside the Reaper. Still roles in which Erster could start to succeed. But on the other side of the coin, the San Francisco Shock, they've been strong all season. They've had to take on a different face recently, though.
Yeah, and it's been interesting. They've had to move some players around in their lineup. They have not been playing Super a ton. It's been Smurf a lot, although you see Super here. This is earlier in the season, back in the stage finals. You've seen a lot of different changes. They have such a deep lineup, a deep roster of very talented players that, Super an MVP candidate doesn't find himself in the roster now a lot.
It's crazy because them getting another 7-0 stage kind of goes under the radar here in Stage 4. People starting to expect this performance from the Shock, expect excellence, just like their team culture. This is what they have on their resume after this season, all right? I mean, a ridiculous map record, every stage final, MVP candidates, and a golden stage too.
And look, they have 5 regular season losses. They finished 2nd overall. I think this is your strongest team. Now, Titans, they were very good in the regular season all
You're
throughout.
a bandwagon fan, this is where you are.
We saw them go to 3 stage finals out of 3. They were tremendous in a lot of the stages. 2 undefeated stage 1 where they don't drop a map. I mean, it's kind of tough to argue against the Shock.
That's right. Let's get this one moving along. Yeah. Let's start to make some noise now as our first team takes to the stage. It is the Atlanta Reign. First year in the league as an expansion team. That face that you saw walk out first is one of the more important in a matchup we want to illustrate. Baby Bay for the Reign. I mean, this guy on this roster, interesting to see which maps he comes in on now. A different look from Atlanta potentially as the meta has changed, but he still seems to be a pivot for this team.
And he comes over from the San Francisco Shock. He comes over in a trade when Dufran leaves the Atlanta Reign. A lot of people think how they're going to replace him. They get Baby Bay. And these guys on the Atlanta Reign, they're just hungry. Like, you have Baby, you have Dogman, two very vocal players. They provide so much hype, so much energy and confidence that this team relies on.
Yeah, going up against his former team. Baby Bay actually broke, I mean, he got a new dance this year because he had a new team, but obviously Baby Bay getting records with the Shock and with the Reign respectively. And you can see here pretty solid with the Reign. Look, I mean, this is the kind of play that I think may not even be the main superstar on the Reign. That's how scary this team is. But he's a huge part of the playmaking, especially when it's on DPS heroes like that Reaper. And again, we even saw Gator come in on the roster card. Yes. That is a really interesting move here. Out for FRD, who we thought's been doing so well. So this team is just a can of surprise.
Yeah, and you see Gator come in, and you expect to see maybe like a Risa Sigma. A lot of teams know Sigma. They kind of talked about him as being like an anchor tank, but he's been playing in a flex tank role. You're going to see two main tanks in the roster today.
Well, let's now bring out the opponents in this second quarterfinal of the day. It is the San Francisco Shock. If you don't know who this team is, if you don't know every face on this roster, you've been sleeping under a rock the last year. This is what we call investment coming to fruition, Matt. This roster, I mean, getting a golden stage, not dropping a single map in stage 2. 2 teams worth of all-star players on this roster, not mentioned 2 MVP candidates. One of them obviously winning the award. Congratulations, Sinatra.
And a golden stage is something you don't know when we'll ever see it again. I mean, it is that impressive from the Shock, and they come out today with Sinatra and Striker in the damage dealer roles. You look at this, you're like, hey, last year we had Sinatra and Striker. Like, that is crazy. Striker's got under the radar with this team. No, Sinatra an MVP candidate, super as well. Striker's been on the bench, but he was an MVP candidate last year.
That's right. And Sinatra was the winner this year, and what a difference maker. The short moments we got to see his Genji were just blissful to behold. I mean, so clean on that role. But the reason why he won that award was definitely because his performance up until stage 4. Just a cornerstone for this team when it came to the Zaya. But then when we got to see him awaken that DPS potential a bit more, that's when he really started to come into vogue.
Yeah, I think you're going to see him play Doomfist in the playoffs here, as you see his season standings on Doomfist, number 1 in the hero damage.
I used to bring it out last year and get everyone very excited. Now it's a necessity.
And this is why this team has such a deep roster. Like, you have Sinatra, you can play the Doom, you bring him in for a meta like this. Rascal on the bench can play whatever you want. It's like, we can take a look at the map set here, presented by Toyota. And then, oh, by the way, you have Striker, who, if you want to have some hit scan power in the game, he can come in and play with the best of them.
Who we know
Busan to kick things off.
We know he's been grinding the ladder, Striker, you know, in his time off. Interestingly, the Shock actually subbed a lot of their sort of bench players into their stage 3 final matchup against the Dragons. Now, that was quite the play, but you can see the confidence the coaching staff has behind them. So Striker returns now. We'll probably see him on the repeat here. That wouldn't be a huge surprise. No sign of Super yet. Obviously, with the necessity, Matt, of having Orisa in your main lineup.
Yeah, Smurf seems to be the Orisa player for this Shock lineup.
Gator is the Sigma player.
Yes, one thing you were also wondering for the Shock was whether we were going to see maybe Nevix in the lineup instead of Choyobin. Nevix grinding out the Sigma, but it'll be Choyobin playing it today. So Gator comes in for Atlanta Reign, like you mentioned. You don't have FRD, no Daco in the lineup, as he'll be playing the Sigma for Atlanta Reign.
Well, Sinatra gets hit with an accretion early on in the fight, but Baby Bay's already been felled by Striker, so now it's pretty free and easy. Sinatra to push in with Erster out of the picture. There's just no damage. Dealers and Master got halted back into Sinatra's path.
Now you'll have the Shock take the point first, and I think with Sigma's release and him coming into the playoffs, it's created a lot of weird things for some teams, in the sense that you have to bring in maybe main tank. Or does your main tank play it? Now your off tank has to play Orisa, like we've seen some teams play it. I think it's benefited a lot of these teams that have very flexible players, like Choyota, like Smurf, and Nevix as well.
We can't avoid comparing his Sigma to his Deeper, even if they're different heroes, Matt, because of the impact he had on them. Sinatra, sneaky beaky, into the back line, gets a punch on Erster, not enough to finish him off though. He's forced to get away with a seismic slam. Erster got taken down. Dogman's forced to fade away from Sinatra's Meteor Strike, and he's now down to get more work done. Choi Hyobin was able to do so much work with Sinatra running wild.
And I was just going to say, you have Sinatra just jump right over that little barrier and seismic slam, get in there and punch, and he's not even worried about being taken out. It seemed like no focus on the Doomfist coming on a flank.
They're busy shooting shields, man. They don't really have time, or at least didn't feel like they had the bandwidth to deal with the Doomfist sailing over their heads. 48% to nothing.
Yeah, you probably need the sound barrier to survive this gravitic flux that Shoyovin could put down.
Oh man, the holds as well. Everybody caught in it. It was the sound barrier though. Dogman, he kept alive long enough to get his coalescence, but Master was able to get that big ultimate off. The Shock still control the point though, and the Rain have a lot more work to do. Coalescence now from the high ground, but Striker, he's going in. Deep Striker time into the back line. Death Blossom, he's knocked away. Master protecting his team for the most part, but Striker, he wants to go back in. This man is relentless, Erster. Turns around and gets rid of him. It was Baby Bay to assist. Shock still on the point though, it's a long fight and they are accruing percentage every step of the way. Erster jumps in, Baby Bay, Death Blossom should have sealed the deal here, but the Shock have a big lead.
Yeah, and you needed to use that Death Blossom there from Baby Bay because you had both tanks alive on the point for the Shock and Violet playing the Moira, as Moira can keep those big tanks alive for so long, especially when Orisa has the Fortify, and then you also have the ability on Sigma to be able to take in some of that damage, turn it into shields.
Kinetic Grasp, baby, we see how much you can get sometimes from that. It is ridiculous. Erster, Rocket Punch in. No targets found, Seismic Slam now. Can he connect with Meteor Strike, looking for a squishier target ideally, but he'll have to deal with one of the tanks instead. He's able to get away, but Smurf, with the damage he took from the Meteor Strike, Gator is able to finish the job. It looks like the Shock are in disarray now. Sinatra focused down. The rest of the Shock have to get out of dodge.
You have such holding power with this double shield composition as we see Gator push on up. Sigma just puts down so much damage into those chokes. It's very difficult to go out there and be at full health. So you kind of think the Atlanta Rain, they can play around the corner, play around their double barriers. Some kind of splash damage will hurt some of the players on the Shock as they move forward. Definitely an advantage to the team holding these chokes.
And look at how frequently that experimental barrier is being redeployed by these Sigma plays. It's almost as flexible as Reinhardt's for that reason, but to have extra crowd control and a bit more damage. Gator, pretty clear, he's going to go for the Gravitic Flux here. Striker didn't get pulled up by it, but Smurf goes low enough to drop as he hits the ground. Accretion thrown out, but Gator is in dangerous territory and Striker's able to run him down. The Rain go for a sound barrier with only 5 up. Seems to be enough to deter the Shock for now, but they know they have to commit pretty darn soon. Sinatra wants to drop in, but Choi Hyobin no good. Tried to accretion Erster as he knocked him up, and that's a second now for the superstar. Looking for more. The Shock may not have much more to offer though, as they are already turned tail and running. And a Meteor Strike for extra damage on the chase down Smurf. He's done, and the Rain are at 93, Matt.
I'm surprised he used that Meteor Strike to go deeper. I thought he was going to come out as 98% here. Looks like Moth may be able to get a touch to force OT.
Supercharger thrown down by Pokepo immediately though. It's got to be the sound barrier now for the Shock to keep him in this. Striker backs away, hoping for a different way to get into the fight, and Baby Bay goes for a Death Blossom on the point. Choi Hyobin almost got knocked back into it there by Gator. Mock drops onto the point, but he's a little bit too low, and Striker, it's desperation now with the Death Blossom, but he punched midway through it. You don't interrupt the performer halfway through their routine. The Atlanta Rain now at a sound barrier gird themselves into the end of the round. 100 to 85, a close one. But Matt, once the Rain got back in, they could not be moved.
It was just the one break from Atlanta that they needed. Is the Shock, they're one fight away. I mean, 85% with the way they're rolling. They're one fight away from winning that one 100 to 0. It's just Atlanta able to break in. The double shield composition just too strong in those chokes. You know, the Shock didn't really even get a great fight on the point. You know, they get touched there at the end, but prior to that, they were stopped in the chokes the entire time. They never made any progress getting towards the point.
Baby Bay and Erster combine for 11 kills. Striker and Sinatra only for 7. The damage dealers from the Rain. Just one-upping a little bit now. The Shock have a challenge in front of them. We're head to downtown.
You're going to have the same composition for both teams, just like we saw in Mecha Bank. So you'll see the Reaper and the Doomfist. So both teams want to play this close quarters style. Just brawl it out, try and get around these shields, burst down these tanks.
Get a Doomfist in there, find a pick. That's what you got to do, and Sinatra has done just that, making me look awful smart. Marseille's down. Flexibility lacking for the Rain. They lack the speed boost and the boot to get Doomfist away from them. A trade out in terms of Doomfist, but I think the Shock are happy with that now, as the only damage dealer left for the Rain is Baby Bay. He will backed away.
Sinatra got a pick last time though, in the previous control round. And That's what gave them the point, but when he wasn't able to do it again, that's when they lost it. Atlanta has come back.
They got the point.
Yeah, they've given up the point here, but they have Coalescence to play behind.
That hurts. Treehoven can't protect himself from that damage. He tries to go for the kinetic grasp and puts his shield back up. Sinatra down though, Dogman got him, and into the back line goes Erster. Rocket punch in, no wall to connect with Striker, but still damage was there from Gator. Treehoven in trouble. And this time the Rain retake much quicker.
And you have that Coalescence. Coalescence right now is one of the best ultimate abilities we have in the game in this type of meta. The damage and the healing goes through the shields, which a lot of supports not able to heal through the shields. Very difficult with 2 shields out there. That's why we don't see a ton of Ana, some Baptiste on some maps. But right there, the Coalescence are able to heal your teammates and put damage on the opponents through those shields. And leads Atlanta to take the point.
Gator making use of the bouncing properties of the Hyperspheres to get it around the corner. Gravitic Flux. Gator gets caught in that one, but he goes for one of his own. It's confusion now for the Rain, and they get run over. Fight on Moth gone down to the Shock, have no supports. Even though they get the first 2 kills, Striker has to follow up. They get rid of Poke, but the sound barrier was good, and that extra support presence for the Rain may help them here until Sinatra arrives. Quick 2 kills, a rocket punch, uppercut combo for 2.
Baby is going to be able to get on here and get a touch. He uses the rate, but he may get caught out here. Yeah, by Sinatra. So you'll have to wait a little bit longer for Atlanta. Him getting to the point only bought you about 7%, so...
And now it's going to stagger a little bit.
It's really nothing in the grand scheme of the game, because the Shock are going to get a lot of percentage just having him be waiting for the Atlanta Rain. So Atlanta also invests their sound barrier at the end of that fight. Mercer connects with 3. They probably felt like they had a good chance of winning at that point.
They had the supports, but not the damage. That's what they lost first in the fight. Sinatra backs away very quickly, doesn't want to deal with the halt. Massa pursues over the top. Oh, he sees a very low health Erster. Tries to go for it, but doesn't connect the punch. Sinatra trying to drop down, thinks about getting rid of the supercharge, but a bit of damage on Baby seems to be preferred. It looks like he was hit by an accretion as he touched the ground. And in the meantime, Erster and Dogman make short work of the Shock. Another for Erster. And the Atlanta are back in residence. Just a bit of stall for the Shock, and that's all they'll have.
Erster has been sick on the Doomfist. 11 final blows. Just really wrecking through San Francisco's backline. As Sinatra is the regular season MVP. If you were giving out an MVP for Stage 4, it's probably Erster, and he was that good.
If there's a play that's going to take Atlanta Rain to playoffs glory, it's probably going to be the man on your screen.
Without a doubt.
Medial strike available for Erster, so a get out of jail free card is on the table. He jumps in, backs out. They lost Massa. Sinatra doing one better this fight. Quick 2 final blows for Sinatra, again stepping up. Tries to land a bit of a wishful rocket punch on Dogman there, who wouldn't have seen it coming. But the Shock have already done enough damage to secure the fight win.
Games like this are so dangerous, though. Like, when you're playing the game of which Doomfist is going to get the first pick off in a lot of these fights,
Matt.
It's 50-50, right? You load up a punch, you go in, you may get one, you may die instantly, as it's so risky for both these players. So this will be the Shock will get up, match the Rain in terms of percentage.
Treehoven has a gravitic flux. If the Rain funnel out into this, it'll be the end of them. Put their walk head first into Striker and they lose their secret weapon. Unlikely they want to continue without Erster, especially now that he has Meteor Strike.
And it's brutal to try and push into a Reaper who's getting the effects of a supercharger in that close quarters area.
You can't see him until he's right around the corner on you. It's perfect.
Baby's gonna have to be the one to get a touch here.
Treehoven, gravitic flux, big catch, great hold coordination there. Not quite the impact he would have liked, though. There was still a sound barrier in time from Massa. Smurf's a little bit low behind his shield, but Baby was forced away. Both these teams go for a brief reset for some healing. Baby trying to go for the Death Blossom as he drops down, but look at that kinetic grasp. Eats up a lot of the Reaper's damage. Striker now wants to try one himself. Tries to go to the high ground. A good boost from Massa, but it won't be enough. He's still able to get 2, and he's chasing Dogman for 3. Moth will finish Baby off, and now we have a game.
It's a nice boop by Moth as well. On to Baby. Baby used that Death Blossom from the high ground, booped him away. Ends up getting nothing with it. He actually boops him into an accretion that comes in from Treehoven. So you stun that Reaper, take him out. This one will come down to the final point.
It looked like they were trying to do the same thing to Striker. He just got a bit luckier. He got booped, but he was still able to drop down and hit the front line of the Rain with the Death Blossom.
I think the thing is, though, is when Moth actually boops Baby's coming down from the high ground. He actually boops him like a little bit higher into the air, so can't really connect with anybody.
Easier target for that accretion as well. Look at Popo, some of his final moments in that round. The Baby goes up, holds the Reaper towards him, even with the boop there. He brought the Reaper right to his own door.
Just a bit unlucky. Not ideal.
It was definitely not premeditated, that's for sure.
I feel like on this point, just like Mecha Base, like a lot of it's going to come down to first control, and then if a team can actually break. Like the fights on this point can go for so long. And for Doomfist, there's not a lot of like one-shot opportunities. Like you can go into the hole, but with so much open space, these are points that don't really tend to favor Doomfist.
If Sinatra's going to take that angle, he has to hit Popo into a wall and secure a higher amount of damage. Because look at how they chased him down. And with him out of the picture, yeah, the Rain win that fight. Sinatraa tries to go for a sneaky play. Blows up in his face.
And like our last 2 points that are really close quarter, have walls around the point. This is way more open. You're really relying on the drum in the middle, and then there's 4 pillars. And that's where Doomfist excels, like playing in the close quarter areas with around walls, the rocket punches.
If you can get behind the defending team, sure, but if you're trying to punch in from the side, your odds are
so risky
lower.
because you have to use your movement abilities to get behind them. This will be a Coalescence and Lana getting aggressive behind this Moira ultimate yet again. But you have to use your movement abilities to get behind the other team, and at that point, you don't have them to get out.
Look, I mean, the Shock didn't really have anywhere to run there. They lost a player before the fight started, and Ursta's just farming. Now, less than ideal. I mean, Ursta really already has his Meteor Strike, and it's not like a key ultimate. But regardless, Rain have 4, almost 5 of them anyway. Dogman already a third, back to another Coalescence.
Like I was mentioning, using the movement abilities of Doomfist to get behind the other team here would put you in a really risky spot. Trying to connect with one of those one-shots,
Well,
you can use the Meteor Strike to get out. If you're Ursa, you can play a little bit more aggressive.
but look where the Shock are pushing. There is a wall behind them in that little that L-shaped track as they try and move up. So there's risk there. You have to think about these things. That's why they don't drop straight over the top there. Take the short route to the point. There's a wall right underneath. Supercharger now for the Shock. I mean business. Gravitic Flux now. That's from the range. Straight under the Shock. Smurf though, he hits straight away towards that Fortify. Ursa want to go in, but where do you look? Who do you find? How about 2? Behold, perfectly combined now. Popo sets it up. And Ursa hits the slam dunk.
Oh, that is a nasty combo there from Popo and Ursa. You can see how much shield Ursa has right now. Just landing that Meteor Strike. Perfect combination with the halt and the Meteor Strike. Atlanta's looking to roll this final point.
Now, 92%, the Shock. Don't have a lot of options left. Coalescence, Death Blossom, if they even get to the point. And they have scant seconds to do so. Ursa looking at the left-hand side, trying to get a punch in on anyone who's trying to sneak up there. Mock looks like he got a touch, but we're still into overtime. Babyface having a teleport out of enemy territory. Striker comes in, he gets rid of Ursa with a Death Blossom. There's more work to be done now. Will Popo go on the Shock somehow? Stick their foot in the door.
They finally get a break. They're able to break here. They're going to be able to flip the point.
I don't think they're having any cups of tea right now, Matt.
Can they hold this though from 99 to 0? Can they take it all the way back? No ultimates right now here for the Atlanta Reign to work with. Same for the Shock. You're going to have the Meteor Strike probably come online for Sinatraa a little bit earlier. For me, this is going to come down to the next time we see these support ults come around. Next time we see the Coalescence and the Sound Barrier come off, if the Shock can get good uses of those, and we're going to be pretty deep in the game.
No!
Oh, he gets hit with the accretion, so he gets stunned there, can't get out.
It looks like he got halted in as well by Popo. Everything thrown at Sinatraa as he was trying to hurl himself into the enemy team. Ursa now knows he can start looking for some of these kills. Mock survives the rocket punch, but Ursa now wants to bring the house down. What a connection! Evidence suggests you're about to get dunked! No coming back from this one. Ursa drops back in. And just over the top, maybe just stalled out is Mock there with the Sound Barrier. It's only going to be 3 players that benefit from it. It's going to have to do for now. Sinatra's forced away with Mock going down. The Shock took the point for just a brief moment, but now they're going to take it once more to stay in this fight. Rain to walk away, not a good sign for Sinatraa. Striker as he backed out, and that'll be it. The Atlanta Reign starts strong in this quarterfinal. The Shock just got rocked.
It's a big halt from Popo instead of a Meteor Strike from Ursa, but the bigger one at the end. When both teams had no ultimates, Sinatraa trying to go in and make a play. He's seismic slamming, he gets halted up in the sky a little bit, stays there for a little bit longer, gets hit with the accretion from Gator, the stun, the kill onto the Doomfist, and Atlanta's able to flip the point. We'll see how the series goes. Map number 2 after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment,
every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back to the 2019 Overwatch League playoffs presented by Xfinity, and the Atlanta Reign make an early statement here. The team that's always wanted to buck the trend and the expectations, doing it now against the, well, about as close to undisputed top team in the league as you can get. Shock struggled a little bit. Now, Control has not always been the Shock's home ground.
No,
Still.
definitely not. But still, you expect them to come out firing all. I mean, a lot of those matches are close. But I think for me, Dogman on the Moira, it's something we didn't really talk about a lot during the match. But you take a look at some of these numbers. I mean, a ton of healing. The extra damage provided was huge. You know, he comes up with 47 limbs. I think Violet had like about 23. So just providing a little bit of extra damage here for the Atlanta Reign, especially in this meta when you can send those Moira orbs through the shields. They put down damage, also healing if they push past it. So the Shock, they do get to pick the next map. They were the losers of the first map, obviously. And they go to Numbani here.
I actually did see Jonak on the Moira playing very aggressively, especially on Ilios in that last map of that series, using Bionic Orbs offensively. Now, normally you get way more value out of them if you use them for healing. Yes. Because, I mean, they don't tick for a lot of damage, but if you're trying to chase down a couple supports, players without healing, then you can go for it, for sure. Bastion on defense here for the Atlanta Reign.
So they'll go Bastion plus Mei on defense. Sometimes you may see like a Symmetra with this, so you can teleport the Bastion from side to side, get the good mobility. So they'll have Batiste and Ana in terms of supports. You're going to be able to dive this with this comp if you are the Shock. The Bastion going to be able to set up down a ton of damage here. The Shock trying to go lower. They probably have an idea now. They probably heard the sound cue there.
My gosh, those hyperspheres, they do small amounts of AoE damage.
Grenade.
They just take so much damage on the approach to the Shock, and they've lost Violet, which is the vast majority of their healing.
You know, Choyobin earns himself some shielding there with the Kinetic Grasp, but it's good for nothing. I mean, they have to rotate all the way around. Now they're a little bit split, so they also know that they got one. They know they got the Moira. So
they can sneak Violet back in here with a Fade. There is potential for him to be caught out, and looks like they're baiting this as well. Sinatra is on the low ground. Okay.
Gonna go for Dogman.
Yeah. He got hit with a body grenade, pushed away. Dogman still taken down though. Great pick. That was quite inventive. The Doomfist just sort of going a different way than we expect to that high ground, but the Ana was maybe a little bit too aggressively positioned. Something we've not said of Dogman only once.
And, you know, Striker is actually there as well, and he helps set it up as he tries to teleport onto Dogman. Actually, Striker gets slept there, so it's actually a nice play by Dogman, but then you also have the Sinatra coming from the other side, just pushing you down. Sinatra gets hit with a biotic grenade, and I think the worst thing for Dogman there is your probably best bet with the Reaper on one side, the Doomfist coming from the other way is to drop down low, but that's a horrible position.
You're still a long way forward from the rest of your team because they're set up around the Bastion.
And you can't heal them safely. I mean, you're going to be scoped in, looking up in the street. You're going to die to the Doom or the Reaper.
Is it aggressive positioning where he was standing?
No, I mean, high ground. He had Urster there with him. You just had Urster get taken out.
Data shields up with the coalescence coming through. They lost Dogman early again. Not ideal, but Striker managed to get into the cookie jar, Matt. Took all the good ones and left the Raging Brand ones of everybody else. Okay. That was clever from Sinatra. In a pinch, of course, the gap between the bus and the building itself. It's enough that you can get multi-kills with that Meteor Strike.
2 quick fights for the Shock will get the payload probably around this next corner. How does Atlanta decide to fight this? They're behind. They were behind in terms of coalescence charge because Dogman switches from Ana over to Moira. Do you want to invest here? You know, a 4-point B? Like, do you want to use Blizzard here? If you lose that, then you're in a real tough spot. See how Atlanta decides to play this. They got to touch.
Not what you want. Sinatra hits a fortified Orisa there with the rocket punch. He's able to get out though. Here comes the supercharger from the high ground. Popo hit with that one and they drop them into a Winter Wonderland. This isn't Numbani, it's Narnia. Baby goes down. Gator up high though. Big slam, but the sound barrier was there. Perfectly timed by Mott to keep his team up. Now Gator's going to get it done the hard, old-fashioned way. Doesn't have the accretion available to do with Sinatra while he was busy with his back line, and they give the point away. The Rain of Force back once more. The Shock are starting to build momentum.
Just too much displacement between the Lucio and the Doomfist to really hold strong and fight on the point. They get knocked back there a little bit. Nothing they could really do. So Urster now goes away from May. Play Doomfist here. You will have a supercharger from Popo. This will buy them at least some time. They'll be able to put it down. You think the Shock don't want to push into it. They probably just wrap back around the corner.
Oh, wow. Aggressive. Look at that push forward there. The rest of the Rain want to go as well. Death Blossom comes out to try and deter that attempt. Man, Kinetic Grasp got a heck of a lot of shield there for Gator, but it is burning away awfully fast. Supercharger helps, and Striker looks on in dismay as his teammate is hammered by the Death Blossom in the back. Baby pushes on.
You needed to invest there if you're Atlanta. You needed to just kind of go all in on that fight. If you lose that fight, they're going to set a tremendous time. At this point, though, you needed to try and just get something off the clock. As he's able to pick up one here, Baby uses the Death Blossom, finish off 2 more.
You see, just the accretion cooldown wasn't quite there. They didn't have the crowd control nor the shields to keep Baby away from them. And you've got to think for Baby there's a little bit more riding on this game than just a semi-finals berth.
Yeah, I mean, him and the Shock guys, they're still boys. You know, he posted a picture this morning of just him and Sinatra, like, you know, wishing him good luck. But there's also a part where it's like, yeah, well, you know, you traded me, you weren't playing me at all. I want to get some kind of revenge. Be a sound barrier there. It'll be a Coalescence actually keeping them alive.
They lost Ursa already though now. Oh, Dogman, if that was him, that would have been the end of the Coalescence as he get put up against the wall. But he survives, and then he takes Smurf down. Sinatra just waiting for someone to overextend a little bit more. Payload allowed just incremental progress around this corner. Striker doesn't want to be up there on the high ground, but Baby looks like he was caught a little bit too deep. Tricoban is able to deal with him on his own. Gator drops down. I mean, Kinetic Grasp? No, that's not going to get him out alive. And here's a Gravitic Flux. Popo's able to drop down with 4 to 5, but Urster was not so lucky.
It's such a nice play from Moth. He's able to get up onto the high ground because Gator's up there playing behind the shield, just putting down so much damage, just annoying damage from that Sigma up on the high ground. Then Moth gets over on the other side, knocks him back into the Shock, and they're able to deal with the Sigma.
Baby's on their sneaky flank. Oh, it goes for the supercharger first. Gives himself away. Let's see if that was good sequencing or not. He gets caught by Sinatra as soon as he comes out of Wraith Walk, though. It was a rocket punch intended just for his boy. Payload getting close now. Urster's going to go for the Meteor Strike, but someone needs to contest in the meantime. He drops down, immediately removed, and the Wrecking Ball a little bit too slow.
Try and go with the Bastion on defense to kick things off. It doesn't work. The switches on point 2 don't exactly work there for Atlanta. It allows the Shock to set a very good time, completing Numbani with 2:27. We'll see Atlanta's offense after this.
Support your team with the official Overwatch League Coca-Cola bottles at CokeStore.com. Ships to all 50 U.S. states, Washington, D.C., and U.S. P.O. boxes.
If you think that young Dogman likes to talk some smack and all that jazz, Gator ain't too far behind. This guy, you may know of a team called Goats, which played in our contenders region. In fact, they were the inspiration somewhat for the composition that dominated the league for 3 stages. This gentleman was at the heart of that. Now he's at the heart of the rain mat, piloting the Sigma.
Hey, I mean, you need to have somebody come up with a new strategy going into this meta, right? A lot of things changing. You know, a role lock, new hero, balance changes. You bring in Gator to play the new hero. You have him just kind of practice it over on the side. So you can get the London Spitfire Legendary skin, Grand Finals one.
Got propellers on it, fam.
You got it? It's pretty lit. I don't play any tank, but I know when in the off chance I decided to.
Now you have the option to queue up for your role. You play even less tank.
Oh yeah, now they have the option. You know, me and Sideshow dominate EPS queues down there.
Well, by dominate, you mean like have SSD so you can select it first when we queue? Then yes, that's about it.
Sounds more like a you issue than a me issue. So this will be the Bastion on defense here. So Bastion with the Doom Fist. So a lot of displacement of Doom, really going to kind of cause some trouble. You're going to see McCree Farah here. So against double shields, it'll be interesting. What can you get done with the McCree Farah? Like, usually you see the double shields, they think about diving. I think that's probably what you'll see, like a switch to, something that you can
I wonder
get
what they
the shield.
expected.
You just don't have enough damage to get through the shielding here.
You think this McCree Farah comp was designed to deal with an expected defense from the shock, but that obviously didn't eventuate, so now it's going to be Genji Sombra.
In regular season play, neither of these teams have lost since June. Just to kind of add to how big of a match this is.
That's 2 months. It's a long time in the Overwatch League.
I get a hack on a striker here. He's got to drop.
Coaster waits for him to drop. Striker's in trouble. Stay under the lantern, son. The light will keep you safe. Ursa up to the high ground and... what? Okay. Just lazily flicks some shurikens down and claims the Bastion.
They just weren't,
not be enough.
They just weren't quick enough. They didn't get rid of the lamp fast enough. The Baptiste Immortality field. They get Striker on the Bastion. Now he switches to Tracer, but they get him with a hack, and then they get him with a biotic grenade, and they're not able to capitalize on it.
Alive.
It's Moth with the Immortality field, keeps him up. You needed everybody to collapse on that, I think, a little bit faster.
Isn't that crazy? Like 90% of your execution is great. Like you hit the Bastion with all the disables, and still just that last 10% you miss. At least you don't kill him quickly enough.
Now I'm excited. We get to see Striker on Tracer. Probably just want to get back into it, but the Boston Uprising last year, he was dominant.
There it is, Gator knocks sky high. It's an archer for 2. Can he make it more? Rocket punches off cooldown right about now. Pokebo seeing better days. Yo, I don't mean to be academic, but the rain just got ruined.
I mean, this is a scary thing to see for any team. Is you have 2 dive damage dealers with Sinatra on the Doom and Striker on Tracer. Like, pick your poison. Who are you trying to get rid of here?
Huck's just wiping a tear from the corner of his eye. Go get him, son.
That'll be what's the nano boost used there on that fight on a Sinatra? Seems like Atlanta just trying to figure out a different way to approach this. Trying to go for the low ground. There'll be a hack on a Sinatra.
So rude.
Doomfist, one of the best heroes to get a hack off on.
And he is just a walking ham. If he is hacked, nothing he can do. Striker takes a lot of damage, tried to get into the back line, but had to recall. EMP hits Smurf and Choi Oben. And that's pretty darn good. Smurf's able to hide inside the Immortality field, but they give control of the point to Atlanta for the time being. A recontest is possible, but Smurf looks very much on his own there. Striker has to come in from the far side, but that healing is so good. And Gator's down. Sinatra is now on the scene. Supercharger thrown down. Ursa just gets knocked into next Tuesday, and Baby Bay is just a mess on the floor.
So Smurf actually backs up into the corner where I'm sure a lot of the players at home, you see like the Orisa set up in that back corner, gets both supports behind there.
The healing is sick.
You have a really good healing from the Ana and the Baptiste. You have the Immortality field as well. But the biggest play is you have the Gator using that Gravitic Flux, and he actually gets punched right as he's about to use it. And he had so many players grouped up in that corner. You'd have taken 50% max HP from all of them, probably at least get a kill there. Striker with a pulse bomb on the other side on the flank. This looks like a potential first point hold here for the shot.
The rain are out of tools. Trick open. Oh, he waits the sound barrier out. This could be a nasty gravitic flux now that there won't be one to counter. Okay, only getting Erster, that's enough though. As long as he gets him down to 50% and he drops, he will be removed. And the rest of the work is being done by the hard workers and the shock. Sinatra, you do not need healing. Don't spam that. I'm getting flashbacks from solo queue. Gator, go. How do you, yeah, stop a rocket punch, fam?
Ain't stopping that. You have a body block that goes on from Shayobin on a poke pose. It's going to be very difficult for him to get a touch. He gets taken out. Masa just throwing his body at the point here. It's a tremendous defense from the Shock.
Tremendous!
They'll get a full hold here and take map number 2.
Hey, if you get the tremendous from Mr. Matt Morello, you know you've done pretty well. The Shock fire back after the rain.
No more
Get in
L5
early.
goes here.
That's it. No. Only
All done with that.
the best. Sinatra heads head off and the rest of the Shock head backstage. We're tied up. Heading into map 3.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X5 gives you the speed you need to game like a pro.
Cease your resistance. Cease your resistance.
Both of these teams went undefeated in stage 4, but one of them is going to take an L tonight. And coming into the half, we're all even at 1 apiece. Welcome back to another halftime presented by Cheesy Screws. Malik here, we got Zoe Brent and Sideshow in the building. Guys, coming into this matchup, a lot of question marks as to the power level of both of these teams. Now, everybody knows the San Francisco Shock, undefeated in stage 4, the top team. But the Atlanta Reign, who also went undefeated, a lot of people were wondering how they were going to match up. That first map, they matched up pretty well. As a matter of fact, Erster came out and dominated.
I mean, that's not a huge surprise since that's just kind of been his shtick
Yes,
throughout stage 4.
domination.
Yeah, domination. That's kind
Him,
of the direction.
Thanos, who else? They come up
Yeah,
with
it's
certain
the same thing, really,
just
isn't it?
domination.
I mean, that's not a big surprise. And also, generally, I think no one is super surprised that they managed to come out on top on control map. It's not Shock's best
No, no. 67%
vote,
win
so-
rate.
All right,
This
dropping
season.
the numbers.
Yeah, 67. That's their lowest. 67.
That
Still
is
above
outrageous,
50,
yeah.
but it is their worst game type. Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and jump into that control map right now, because Sinatra, our reigning MVP right now, and Erster, a lot of people stage 4 MVP, they went toe-to-toe playing that Doomfist, and it was so much fun to watch.
It really was. Erster managed to get the better end of it, despite what we've seen from Sinatra this year. Erster, every time we see him on a new hero, shows that he can absolutely dominate the competition. And just the Atlanta Reign in general seem to have a slightly better system of rotating those players through the front and back line. winning on control, I think, tends to show that you have the advantage in just the default fights. You know, there's a lot of just cycling the fights and getting value out of your ults.
I completely agree. It's less reliant. I don't want to say it's less reliant on position, and positioning still very important, but a lot of strategy in terms of setting up a lot of attacks on certain points does get lost a little bit when it comes to control as well, because the map just forces you to try and take team fights as often as possible. So it kind of plays into that chaotic, brawly play style a lot of the times, which Atlanta Rangers are really excelling at right now, partly due to Erster, the other part being the fact that Atlanta Reign working very well together. One player in particular who I do want to talk about is Massa. Now, there's no highlights here of him, but there was multiple moments with key boops where he did save a lot of his teammates. He's been quite imperative in them actually getting a lot of wins.
This is kind of a dream matchup on support when you really think about it. Massa and Moth going kind of toe-to-toe, Violet, Dogman. These guys are all really good. These are good backlines.
All right, you want to talk about the supports. I'll talk about my dream here, Malik.
Okay.
It's seeing Striker back on the Tracer.
Hey, there you go.
Striker paired up along with Sinatra to totally dominate on that defensive Numbani. Now, having said that, though, they required that kind of domination on the second map for Sinatra to even come up level in final blows to Erster.
Yeah.
Erster ruined on Doomfist in map 1. I think he ended with 23 after map 1, which would indicate that he only got 1 on Numbani.
Yeah, Erster had 3 kills on Numbani and 10 deaths. So yeah, he didn't really get away on scratch.
Yeah, well, some questionable compositions there toward the end, at least in my opinion. But guys, it's time for Crunch Time, presented by Cheez-It Grooves. And we've got to talk about Gator, who's barely played all year, but he comes in today starting on Sigma. And honestly, I feel like this is a really high pressure situation for somebody who hasn't played. You guys feel like he's been living up so far to the hype and to the pressure?
Yeah, see, the thing is, we don't know what the preparation from Atlanta Reign looked like. They did have several weeks now. They did say that they're mainly focusing on that Sigma patch. So chances are that he has been scrimming with the team all along.
Yeah.
That is very possible. Now, how did he do in game? Fine. I mean, see, if you're starting to emote on dead bodies on the field, you're probably feeling pretty good.
You know what that
about
one's
yourself.
called? It's the toe bag.
The toe bag. No.
We gotta stop with it.
No.
I've heard a lot of toe references so far this half. I'm not enjoying it.
What
But,
was the first one? Did I miss the other ones?
I mean, Malik, you said toe to toe earlier.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. You did say that, Kevlar.
Clueless scientist, Sigma.
My
so
goodness.
funny.
But in terms of numbers, I mean, it's less so the numbers and more about how he's playing around the team and setting up a lot of the stuns with the big rock. I don't want to say accretion because it just feels slimy off of my tongue.
Not a great word.
Yeah, but the rock kills and the assist is setting up are the most important factors with this. Now he looks serviceable, is what I will say. And there's still time for him to maybe falter a little bit, maybe really turn up. But so far, there have been players put in his position where they have to perform in playoffs, and they've had much worse starts.
Right.
So it's not awful. I will say that. It's not awful.
He's doing his thing. Well, guys, that was Crunch Time, presented by Cheez-It Grooves. And while we're at it, guys, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about what's to come here in this matchup, which looked like it could go all the way. We have right here for map 3, Horizon Lunar Colony, some HLC. Interesting pick by the Atlanta Reign, but I feel like that's well in their wheelhouse.
Yes, yeah, I do feel as well. I've got a personal theory with the San Francisco Shock that when they get a little break and the coaches have an opportunity to talk to the team, they get powered up. They get empowered. They start to correct a lot of the mistakes they're making. Happens all the time with the San Francisco Shock as a team, as individuals. So they are going to be prepped coming into this. Krusty's going to be beating into them, not literally, obviously, but he's going to be beating into them the importance of where they need to be, the strategies that need to be in place, and kind of correcting a lot of the weaknesses that we've seen in the first half, I think.
Yeah.
I'm expecting something specialist coming out here from Atlanta, actually. We've seen the Vancouver Titans run a bit of Bastion on this, and I could definitely see some kind of specialist strategy with a Symmetra or a Bastion or something like this when we go onto Horizon. It's got a lot of opportunities. The map architecture is quite unique.
I'm very interested to see what the Shock do, too, here. So you got any idea what you might expect from them?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen them in this meta on this map so far, and I think it's going to be very similar to what we could potentially see from the Atlanta Reign. This is a map which lends itself to those kind of, more cheesy kind of setups and cheesy compositions, and they are hard to stop. It's a very snowbally kind of map, so I'm very interested to see who's going to come out.
I want to see a gravitic flux in space, like you were saying before a couple of weeks ago. I don't know what happens.
Wait,
do they just go into orbit?
There's still gravity on the moon. We've been over this.
Yeah, we've been talking about
still,
this.
Like they would just continue to accelerate.
No, there's gravity on the moon.
No.
Okay, let's not start this
You'll
again,
be able
guys.
to escape the
There's
orbit.
no gravity on the moon.
Let's not start
That's
this
why
again.
it floats above the Earth.
Well, I would love to talk about the gravity of Horizon, Lunar Colony, and Sigma, but we got a whole nother half to go. It is all tied up 1-1 between the Atlanta Reign and the San Francisco Shock. Guys, stay tuned. It looks like we got a banger on our hands, and we'll have more when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch.
Cease your resistance. Cease your resistance. You're powered up. Get in there.
Welcome back to our second quarter final of the day. The San Francisco Shock, they fire back in map 2. They choose Numbani. You can see why they wanted to go for that one there. It looks like the Reign weren't quite ready for them. We even saw Atlanta's attacking composition. They had like a weird read that went back and switched up, and they couldn't dive the Bastion, not with everything that they had.
Yeah, they had one really good attempt when they get a hack on the Bastion. They get the Bastion biotic grenaded. They're not able to put it together on that one. Then Striker goes over to Tracer, and they're never able to deal with the Tracer Doomfist combination.
Immortality Field punished them a lot. Yeah, we got to see a bit of vintage Striker, right? I mean, he did essentially come out of nowhere for a lot of us last year. We know a ton about his history back on the BK Stars. Was his team prior to that. Spent a lot of time with Boston Uprising, and we wondered when we'd see him come back. We wondered on what role. We heard that Striker was practicing Widowmaker. We knew he'd been grinding that, but then the meta didn't really facilitate it. We see some maps, we still see some Widow play, but it's just not as...
But with more shields coming in, you don't really need the Widow as much. You need some more Reaper play as we can take a look at the map set. So the next map will be Horizon. I think more interesting than the map choice here for Atlanta is that both teams do not make any substitutions. Obviously, you've had time to work on this meta over the last few weeks for both of these teams. I think both of these teams putting in some time, on the PTR, they had the postseason locked up.
They had a bit of extra time, yeah.
You feel confident with these two lineups. So Striker looks like on defense potentially going to be playing that Bastion again, where Bastion excels, double shields, right? It becomes an issue for the other team to try and dive onto the Bastion. Just a lot of shielding to get behind. A lot of CC, especially, accretion, halt, like a lot of things that can keep you in place.
Interesting selection this map. Have to think Atlanta have something prepared on it if they're going to choose it, because we haven't seen it in rotation for a little while. Shock have a good record.
I believe they'll switch off with the Junkrat. Sombra's probably just a scout, so yep, Ursa will play Genji. So
Genji Trace? Genji Sombra, sorry.
Genji Sombra makes sense. Dive heroes can get up on that Bastion, can start to get those dash resets going. How do you attack this with Orisa Sigma? Like that's the, you don't have the tanks access to high ground, but you see where the shield placement is
you
here
have
from
to
the
push the
Shock.
high ground, right?
Yeah, I mean the Shock, they have a shield from behind, a shield from the front.
Oh no!
Accretion, that'll be a hit on to Urster, and then he gets mowed down by the Bastion.
And you saw the animation from Erster that suggested he was using his dash, his swift strike. He didn't move anywhere because he was caught. So subjected to the full force of Striker's barrage of bullets.
This is a hero that can play the Striker's strength. Just aim. He doesn't have to move. It's a muscle dive.
Hey, he was a Tracer man. Tracer moves a ton.
Yeah, but his aim's insane. So now you can have him play Bastion, where
Striker just takes his hand off the keyboard.
yep, walks over there, turns into turret mode.
That's a lie. He's
He
got both hands
yeah.
glued to the keyboard. He's sweating it. Don't worry. Yo, you're wasting bullets.
But what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna rely on building up the EMP? If you do, that's fine. What are you following the EMP up with? Are you gonna try and halt the Bastion down? That's really kind of like the only option you think of.
Okay, this is pretty good for the Rain. They get past and they're taking a lot of damage. Gator will be the first up. Okay, throws out a shield. There's two of them there. There's extra durability for Orisa's barrier. Accretion went in over the top. Sinatra went down early. Can they shut the Bastion down though? Even with a player disadvantage, that Bastion can be worth more than one. Shocker split big time here. But look at all the resources being dedicated to Striker. We got hit with a biting grenade though. But now he has tank configuration. With Ursa down, Striker able to play from the high ground. This could be dangerous still for the Rain.
A nano poke on the point here just to try and keep him alive. And
oh, he didn't realize.
Get a tick, but you have the Bastion up on the high ground. Nothing he can do. Man, that is...
Gator be looking for a chiropractor after that one.
And I was going to say Dogman. Dogman was making the plays there at the beginning of that. He takes out Sinatra. Sinatra dives in the back line. Doom Berzana 1v1. You like the Doom in a lot of those scenarios, but
I feel like you do.
Dogman picks up the kill there. Then he takes out the Immortality field that Moth has down at the high ground. Then he's able to hit two players with a Biotic Grenade, but still not enough.
Okay.
Right,
so that shield being thrown out by Chocobo.
Well, let's see what they follow it up with.
Okay, Amplification Matrix doesn't actually go with the Bastion this time around. It's more for Moth and Chocobo. I mean, he doesn't have the range for the Hyperspheres. That's an interesting Batista, I'll be honest with you. EMP connects and Strike is down, and things may start to unravel here for the Shocker. They don't do something quick! Okay, fair enough.
Was that quick enough?
Yeah, quick enough. Two tanks down to Sinatra's head, and he gets a third with Dogman falling. Erster trying to be heroic, but, oh man. Your T-Mobile MVP just out there rolling.
And we were talking a little bit during the break. I feel like we'll take a look at this Sinatra play yet again. He hits a really nice meteor strike.
Mind if I just... Yeah.
In a meta like this, with so much shielding, and how strong Doomfist is, Striker comes back on Tracer, so another switch like they did on Numbani. When your Doomfist gets rolling and if he's playing good, you're gonna dominate a lot of those plays. Doomfist is a very snowball.
Big still famine though, right?
Yes, if your Doomfist is getting owned, if you're not really getting much value out of it, that's when you see teams really struggle trying to play behind it.
Maybe able to avoid the accretion. Chocobo backs up, redeploys the shield. Early sound barrier again here for the Rain. They're trying to get past. Striker's on the Tracer now, keep that in mind. Spurs very low on the low ground. You see those Batiste grenades being thrown in to keep the Orisa up. Chocobo, I mean, that's a fool's errand. He's gonna throw out Kinetic Grasp to stop Baby Bay. Baby Bay goes for a melee hit instead. And in overtime, the Atlanta Rain move up to the point now. They're looking good. Striker rent asunder. And Violet will be staggered out just a little.
They're able to hold on to this blade coming up for the next point where all you're going to have is that Immortality field. You don't have like anything big like a sound barrier in this instance, or even like a Coalescence. Try and keep players alive at range. So really just Immortality field, nano boost onto somebody. Try and keep them alive through this Genji blade that'll happen.
Still looking at some early damage here. The shurikens, he's able to avoid that gravitic flux, but Masa was not so lucky. Does he commit anyway? It looked like it. Wait a minute. Striker's in trouble. Oh, where's that? Slick, he goes solo and he still goes for the blade anyway. Yeah, that was a little bit risky. The Bloodlust must have just gotten the better of him, Matt.
They do get the Amp Matrix out because of that. They are trading right now. They have 4 players to the Shock 3.
No.
So they're going to be able to push on forward onto the point.
The Bay ain't stopping, but they lost Popo. He's sleeping right now, hit with a biting grenade, as was Masa. Popo's in trouble. Oh, he can't get away. And that should be the shock stabilizing here.
If Violent doesn't hit him with a biotic grenade, though, and the sleep dart, what happens there? You know, Popo, if he's alive, you can get pressured up on the point, you know, push up forward, have the Orisa shield there in play. You had a Death Blossom to maybe invest, so it's a big sleep dart there from Violent.
But crucially, Moth's Amplification Matrix boosted his healing via those grenades enough to keep Smurf alive while Baby was getting point-blank shots. So, without that, he probably would have gunned Smurf down. Sinatra on the rafters. Striker is going to be able to just drop back to the rest of his team, and I'll wait for the rain to drop as well. They don't have a lot to really do with the high ground position, the rain. They don't have a lot of long-range heroes that benefit from having a purge. Wraithwalk forced. Oh, Baby back onto the point. He still wants to hang around. Here it is. Sinatra's going to get nano boosted, though. This extra durability can go a long way, especially with the extra damage. Popo again chased down. And a bit of stagger here now with 1:04 left in the round.
Yeah, Doomfist is too easy to kill. Let's give him damage reduction.
Oh, he's got shields as well? Well,
Violet gives the nano boost over to Sinatra. If Sinatra was even worried about being weak there, he could have actually used the Meteor Strike to get out, but no worry there for the Doomfist. Is able to survive through a ton. So Atlanta, 43 seconds left. They made no progress, no tick here on point B. Baby teleports here. What is he trying to do?
Caught in between the play. He has the Wraithwalk just to get behind Baby's shield, which is broken in a matter of seconds. Smurf comes in. Gravitic Flux. Not enough damage. Suikoden brought down. That's going to be one with a Meteor Strike. Another double from Sinatra. And he'll chase down. Dogman trying to get away. Probably hurling insults as he does back up. But it's still not going to escape.
Yeah, and they're going to stagger out Gator here as well. As Gator's trying to get out with his
He won't
life.
be back
Not going to be able to do so.
That's really bad for the rain, but that was really their best shot anyway. Popo sleeping!
I mean, yeah.
He won't touch the point.
Anyway.
Baby on McCree, how's he supposed to stall on that hero? I mean, he's gonna, no, he's not even trying. It will be the Wrecking Ball to step up here for Gator. Immediately biting Grenade, drops down there. Popo gets to the point at least. Dogman hiding behind with a supercharge when Sinatra goes in. Sinatra is absolutely out of control of this map so far. He's looked so good on this second defense.
That'll be the Shock who get a hold there on point B behind Sinatra's Doomfist. 14 final blows are huge. Now all they got to do is take this first point, get a tick on the second one, and the Shock will take this map. But you got to think, though, Atlanta has some kind of pocket strategy on defense. Do we see a Bastion? We'll find out.
Support your team with the official Overwatch League Coca-Cola bottles at CokeStore.com. Ships to all 50 U.S. states, Washington, D.C., and U.S. P.O. boxes.
The Atlanta Reign, they pick Horizon Lunar Colony. They think they have a shot. Maybe they have something special prepared on this map, but their attack kind of just faltered towards the end. Next year, by the way, the Overwatch League is coming home. By that we mean it's going everywhere. Get tickets to your team's matches though over overwatchleague.com/tickets. Everywhere is home.
Atlanta on defense, they'll be running the Bastion May. A little bit of a difference than what the Shock ran with the Bastion Doom. So let's see, if you're Atlanta and you pick this map, you think it's because you have a really strong defensive setup and maybe this is it. So the Bastion was pretty tough for the Atlanta Reign to break when the Shock ran on defense.
They actually ended up getting rid of the one of the supports first, the Shock, when they broke a Bastion hold. Worked their way around it.
So do you think that the Shock opt to stay on this type of composition? Do they switch off? It looks like for now they're trying to stay on it. Sinatra gets picked going across, so...
I thought that wall lasted just long enough. That May wall actually prevents Violet from rejoining his team during Fade. He has to now wait for another Fade cooldown. So he sits there.
If the Shock can make it to the stairs, right? We see them trying to move around. It's a nice May wall and a halt there as both shields are broken. Now they're outside. This allows, because you move so slow out here, it allows Baby Bay to reposition. I was going to say, if they move up the stairs, you can reposition, but this is also not bad for the Shock. It's a worse angle for Baby Bay.
Look how methodical this is. Wait for shield cooldown, Striker, backline, that's where he wants to be. Dogman not where he wants to be at all. He's forced to fade. Striker drops down, though, after they lose their tanks. And I mean, now what do you do? Look for some ult charge, try and get out as alive as quickly as you can. I don't know what Striker is hoping to achieve here.
The difference between this defense and the Shock defense is when Shock were running the Doomfist, they're using the Doomfist to be aggressive in the backline on the supports. But when you have the May in place, this allows you to play so much more defensive for Atlanta, where you don't have to have the Doomfist go out there, risk getting picked off, switching to a Tracer coming back. You can play just strictly around the Bastion here. Use these May walls to separate players. If they tried to like push in and they got really close, you could even Blizzard it right on top of the Bastion, because you know there's like almost like take away where the point is. Like the Bastion kind of is the point, right? Like you want to either fight it at the point, you want to move them off the point. Like
this entire composition is so filthy. It's just designed to subject the Shock to Baby Bay for as long as humanly possible. Blizzard thrown in there. Guess who just turned up? It's Striker on the Reaper. Master's Immortality Field is taken down, but the Reign have so many tools to protect themselves here. This composition, honestly, it's not honest. It's a very dishonest comp. May walls come up. It's so rough.
And you're stuck, if you're the Shock, trying to dive in there to an Immortality Field into Blizzard. I mean, there's no chance. There's nothing that you're going to do to be able to survive that type of play. So
Shock, they throw up a shield from the Sigma to try and get through. Then they get walled. The shield goes down.
Because these pushes have been rather lackluster, you've had no opportunity. Nice accretion there on a Moth. Moth is your speed boost trying to get through the chokes here. But Choyobin's done really no damage here on Sigma, so you're not even murdering that gravitic
Sigma
block.
has about 25 meters in-game range on his hyperspheres. He hasn't been that close.
We're down to a minute to go.
Striker, okay. Has the Wraith walk away from the Holt, I believe, was thrown out by Popo. Now he's back down here. Back to square one. Gravitic Flux, Sinatra got caught in that one, and Baby Bay ruined TM Gator, brings down Choyobin. And I don't think the Shock are getting too far. They've got one more chance. They've been building ultimates. And there it is. Like I said, you think Dogman's the only one? You wrong.
Yeah, it's, I was mentioning before we went to the break in between rounds, like maybe there's some kind of pocket strategy that they have, they feel really comfortable with. Looks like this is it. They played around this bash up on the high ground with the Bastion, the May.
I mean, what?
You're only 30 seconds away from getting a full.
You need to take a May so you can wall the Bastion yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you can do, I mean, you really kind of have to do that, or you have to have a way to force them down on the point.
Oh, this is going to hurt. Choyobin. Oh, look at the kinetic grasp shielding on Choyobin. They've got Ursa caught on the low ground. There is potential here. Master's forced to use an Immortality Field just to keep himself alive. And the whales are falling off the bus. Sinatra comes in with a Meteor Strike and they finish off the Bastion. They do lose both Moth and Smurf, and Master doubles down with two from the high ground. Dogman going to rotate around to the point, try and keep Choyobin up or down. Shields got thrown in and Dogman is missing now. Choyobin and Violet trying to clutch it out. 2v2. Immortality Field thrown down and Choyobin needs to be healed up a little bit more. Violet's not able to keep him alive, and here come the reinforcements from the Shock. Drop down. Smurf comes in with a pile driver. Roaster on the point. Striker comes right with the Tracer, but Gator shuts him down. Gravitic Flux in that back corner, and Violet tentatively tries to put a foot on the point to keep it going, and Sinatra has once again returned, and he's got two! Three for Sinatra! Nobody can stop this man! He is just with a Dr. Rawdon! The Baby Bay's able to remove him though. Moth comes back in. Baby Bay getting slurped right now, but the Bionic Grasp was not enough to cut through the extra healing from the Coalescence. And the Rain hold off. They make it a draw in map 3. Sit down though. You got more games to play. And take it away though. Big win. Gotta be pleased with that.
Oh, they had to be sweating though when Sinatra comes back and picks up 3. You had Baby Bay and both supports still alive for the Atlanta Rain, and they're able to get the full hold on Horizon to take the lead 2-1.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Zip Chair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. The Guangzhou Charge were looking to wrap up a 3-1 win over the Chengdu Hunters on map 4 when Nero and Isfera tried to drop in for a clutch point-blank barrage, but the Hunters stunned and then hacked him before Jinmu flew in and finished him off. Not content with the one kill, Jinmu took Nero's old position and unleashed a point-blank barrage that wiped out the Hunters.
Jinmu! The ground barrage gets it done.
Both of these two teams have been very good on maps that they have chosen. The Shock, they came close on Horizon Lunar Colony. That would have given them such a big boost in this series, but clutch play there from Masa. High ground, really doing work, and now the Shock have to answer back again.
Yeah, and they thought they were going to be able to break it running the Doomfist Reaper combo. We can take a look at where we are in this series. Both teams just trading maps. But they never even try and switch off of it. A little bit surprising to me, maybe try something else.
It was a, now I see why Atlanta chose that map.
Yes.
Throwing the Mei with the Bastion Cop is disgusting. The attacking team cannot get to where they're trying to go. You hold them up, you spam them down, but I mean, the Shock picked this map knowing that they've been good on it, and the Rain, well.
Yeah, I mean, the Rain have not won Gibraltar as the Shock 7-0. We've seen the Shock spawn kill so many teams here on this map. This is something we haven't seen all series yet. We'll see the Symmetra. Oh no, they're actually going to switch. So he's going to be slightly late here. He was actually all the way in spawn. So he'll be coming back. trying to get here into the fight.
If he's trying to join the rain, yeah, he's late.
He's a little late.
He's going to be sitting on the corner. He has gotten to the vicinity, but yeah. All right, let's see what happens here. They haven't really gone after us, and they're not trying to pick on him, but the rain trying to go for a spawn camp of their own here. Decent time for a good meta for this kind of play. Accretion whizzes past Erster's right ear. That would have been him knocked down. Hole thrown in. Erster uses the uppercut to get out of it. Now there it is. Poke goes down though, and that's not good. The rain try and go for the forward hold. Looks like it's going to be hard to keep going here. Yep, they get Sinatra Smurf pushing up. Gator now has to try and protect himself with the kinetic grasp, but this is where the wheels, again, fall off.
Yeah, you can buy some time here though for Atlanta. They'll get another fight underneath the tunnel right as the payload starts to round and around. They earn some ultimate charge, specifically on the Dogman, so you'll have Coalescence for both teams probably in this next fight. It's just trying to come around a little bit of a flank, catch the shock off guard. They'll get the fight basically in the same spot.
Wow, Smurf goes low to that rocket punch. He's kept alive though. Hard to say if he got the fortify before or after. They lost Moth, and now they had to deal with the Coalescence, so not a great formula for the shock. Violet actually uses his to get the Coalescence out of him, at least in a trade. The Rain have to be happy now with Sinatra off the table.
I mean, there's nothing that Violet, he uses the Coalescence, you have 2 players dead, so get nothing really with it as Coalescence, like we mentioned earlier in this series, that Moira ult is so powerful now because so much shielding out there. It can go through shields, do damage and healing. It's great, on the defensive end. It's great to initiate with. Sinatra there was trying to get Gator. Gator got really low. They went a little bit too deep.
Thrown around right now. And they've walked into the gorilla pen.
Hello there.
Chucked. Now the shock. At least have a couple of these DPS ultimates to work with here. Probably definitely feeling the absence of that Coalescence though. Oh, Chocoban! There's a Bardic Orb behind him there that almost had him.
Mercer's going to come on this flank as well.
Try and drop in, presumably. Supercharge is now being thrown down. Is that where Erster tries to go? He gets it! Baby gets rid of Chocoban. And Erster drops in now at his leisure. Sound Barrier makes this a little bit more of a dangerous foray for him, but he has a bit of shielding of his own. Just not quite enough to protect from a Death Blossom. Coalescence going to push them forward now, and looks like Violet got that when he needed it, but look at this. 2 support ults coming after the Rain simultaneously. And the shock lived through it.
Yeah, they use Coalescence and Sound Barrier on top of each other, but Gator will take out Smurf, so you do have both damage dealers coming back from the Rain now as Gator survived long enough though. You're going to still have 4 players here for the Rain.
Yep. Because of that, Striker has to just address his positioning, and with Baby pushing straight forwards, perhaps if he teleports to the server room, he can rejoin the rest of his team, but he goes straight down the car wash. Violet throws an aggressive Bardic Orb in there. See the Reaper repositioned from Baby, but they saw that coming a mile off there, so he's not able to get back to the fight. Tried to get behind the forklift by the looks. Chocoban can't really do much to stop Erster though with this. He's able to at least force him away for the time being, but he's back almost as quickly as he'd left. First checkpoint for the shock.
Now they're able to break on through. Looked like for a little bit there, maybe Atlanta was going to be able to make a play as you layered both support ults to try and keep your tanks alive long enough for the damage dealers to come back. And in that instance, your Doomfish, the Seismic Slams, comes down, takes out 1 or 2, you're right back in the game.
Getting a breather mid-fight for a hero that is so in your face like Doomfist must be huge. Especially for the concentration of the player. Baby a little bit caught out here. Gonna have to Wraith walk. He realizes he's just gonna have to stand and deliver now. Nice supercharge to throw down here by Popo, especially they're looking to try and contest, and that is a beautiful Graphitic Flux.
You see the power of the ultimate there. Chocoban had to use his on their final push to get point A, and it was a solo one on Amasa, so you think just how much more value you get out of there. Seeing Gator use that Sigma ultimate, and that is a 50% max HP damage to everybody that's inside of it. It's so devastating. It doesn't really look like it, like when you just see the players just go up in the sky and then hit the ground, but the amount of health you lose is huge.
Oh, you're kidding me. Smurf has no idea. Baby's waiting, they've already lost Master, so now it's time to go for it! Trying to make the big play, but Sinatra drops down. What you trying to do? You thought you were going to kill my team? Listen, Erster drops him one of his own. Those Strikers missing Erster. Gets a follow-up with a rocket punch, but he's in trouble. He has to get behind the pillar for safety, and Violet chases him down. Just Gator now with a supercharger in play. Master's not going to last much longer either. He realizes that and skips away.
You feel brutal for whoever goes home a loser tonight from this series, from Sinatra and Erster, as both of these Doomfists have been nutty. It's like, well, Sinatra comes and gets like, you know, two kills on one side. Urster comes, lands down. The Meteor Strike takes out 3. The Shock should be able to take this over. Gravitic Flux, both support ultimates. Death Blossom, they're in a good spot.
Sound Barrier comes out to counter the Gravitic Flux though, and then the Atlanta have Rain have a fighting chance. Urster needs to get away from this threat. He doesn't escape. Striker marked him and removed him. And as a Death Blossom now, should he need to use it, they'll wait out the Sound Barrier timing. Coalescence being used here. It's going to be the Death Blossom in, and they get rid of Baby Bay. That may be the ticket now with Gator accreted against the wall. And Striker's going to be able to get rid of Popo here. Not really much hiding behind the shield to be done.
Just had a great combination of ultimates available there for the Shock. Even with Atlanta having some ultimates of their own, still nothing that you could do to combo to get out of that. Is Gator just trying to get back. Yep, he'll make the wise move, just jump off the map, reset. So now he'll be able to spawn with the rest of his team. Shock, let's see what they decide to do. Do you want to push up, take real estate on that corner, let the payload slowly move around? Right now, you have both supports on it, so the supports you have, you're not really getting much healing. They decide to rush you around.
They are
the corner.
not long-range supports. No. They will have to speed boost themselves forward if the Rain engage, but they're not really in position to do so. See also Choikoven looks like he's pretty ready to back up. Striker caught out there. Out of range walk. In goes the Doom Fist. Oh, great target change there from Sinatra. He knew the initial target was fortified. Meteor Strike. Can he get a punch finish here? His team's getting rocked. He gets just the 1. And that accretion really messed him up.
Tries to Seismic Slam, get out of the way, but both of the Sigmas today. Good Gravitic Fluxes from Gator and Choikoven over the course of the whole series. We saw a lot of Choikoven earlier, a little bit. Just got 1 player in it, but Gator on this match with 6 kills with Gravitic Flux. You can get a lot of players. The AoE on this is pretty massive, especially for these chokes where they have to come around the corner and fight. You get a good use of it there. Supercharger here now for the
Look at how much they focus that Supercharger down. They know how effective it is at winning fights. And you can see the range one is placed just around the corner, out of the Shock's reach. So they are the ones that get the damage boost. The Shock lose their bongo early on. No slam poetry for them.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of advantage Atlanta has for being the defending team there, right? So now Baby Bay get up on the high ground. It's going to be actually in the lower ground. Urster they'll have on the high ground. So,
I mean, he can get Smurf has missed Baby Bay around a corner ball. Striker's found him though.
He'll be able to Wraith walk away though. He is low.
Urster almost drops in high to protect him. Here's a Sound Barrier now. Urster's going to have to do a little bit more than just go in with a Seismic Slam. Meteor Strike gets Choikoven. Big pick. Needs more. And that's going to be enough with Gator and Popo doing the work. Striker can't quite get away, and we are now down into last fight territory. 16 seconds remain in the round, and the Shock are going to have to get it done with Coalescence and with the Meteor Strike.
And Smurf is going to go over to Wrecking Ball just to try and get a touch.
He'll get a touch. Get there.
Violent with this Coalescence, though. He could get taken out of this rather easily with Urster coming from the high ground.
Gator from the high ground, throwing accretion in, harassing the support backline. Kinetic Grasp to stave off the Wrecking Ball. Dueling Coalescence across the point now. Looks like the end of a Dragon Ball Z arc, but no. It's just overtime fights here in the Overwatch League. Sinatra got a credit as he tried to head up and get in Gator's face. Gator's not getting much healing right now. I guess he doesn't need it. No one's really able to reach him, and Sinatra falls short. Gator gets a second before he goes down. And Baby Bay now just giving me the cherry on top. Hit with accretion, but Ursa was there to pick up the slack. And Striker's going to Wraith Walk now just to try and stall a little bit longer. So will Smurf. There may be a Tracer here for reinforcements of the Reaper that dropped down. Striker may have Wraith Walk available. No, he does not.
Gator in the first half here, Mitch. 12,000 hero damage to Choikoven's 6,300. Doing a great job with the Sigma up on the high ground.
He knows it too.
We talk about how great Sigma's ultimate is, the shielding. He puts out a lot of damage, the AoE damage with the Hyperspheres, his primary fire. And when you can get him set up on the high ground in the way that they had it, he's got a personal shield over to his left. He's able to just throw those orbs down by the cart. Can just put down tons of AoE damage.
The Rain gained themselves a reputation as giant killers in the Overwatch League. But what happens when they become giants themselves? Who kills the giant killer? Especially when they're giant. No, they're giant killers.
And it's such a wild card, too, if you're the Shock and you see Gator come into the starting lineup. He's playing the whole series. Like, he's going to play Sigma, but you expect a player like this who's really just had to, pretty much probably since the hero was released, just play it on the ladder, play it on PTR, scrim it a bunch. Like, he's probably had way more playtime than a lot of other players in the league on the hero, right? You mentioned, he comes from the Contenders team, which originated, the GOATS competition.
Well, he also comes from, he was also signed to Atlanta Academy as well.
Yes.
Like a good example of the development pipeline for players from Tier 2.
But somebody who has the experience of finding, let's say a new hero, like when Brigitte came in, you put her in with the tanks.
He's also
really
played an unreal amount of official matches.
Right, yeah, really, really creative in terms of what he can bring to the table. So definitely a huge factor for Atlanta today.
Time is right for the young blood of the league to vie for supremacy now, and if the Reign take this map away, that is a big shift of momentum. This was the Shock's choice, and the Reign haven't won it all season. I won't say anything crazy in terms of team compositions in both teams. Lucio, Moira.
Shock opting not to play close around the corner and play by the spawn. Looks like they're going to be trying to play underneath here. So Lee Choyobin gets the first kill on the Baby Bay. That's a halt that comes in, and they're able to take out Baby Bay. So, yeah, I mean, you see, and the one was from Choyobin was that solo kill onto just Basa. He was just on the Lucio. So even the one kill you got, I mean, it probably wasn't even that big of a deal. They just did it to secure that first point. Still, I mean, 10-1 in terms of the Graphitic Flux skills. I mean, that's massive in terms of value you're getting out of that big ult.
Now our observer team are just indicating for you there that there is a Reaper in the back line. Baby Bay snuck over that top side. Can he get a target? Okay. Forcing the Wraith Walk early, that's pretty darn good. Striker's very low, his team quickly springs to his defense. But Baby Bay hasn't really taken too much clapback at all. Coalescence now. The Shock will force himself into a small bunker, and now they have to fight their way out. That is no easy task. Sinatra tries to get out, but Ursta sends him straight back in a body bag. Baby Bay will follow down now as well. Player advantage. Smurfs have to get rid of Popo though. A little bit less shielding for the Reign. Payload has been contested this whole time. That Gravitic Flux inside a small space could be quite scary, but the sound barrier was well timed. Although it comes before the Death Blossom, and Striker has been removed. Supercharger now, but the payload started to move. The Shock can't really contest it from where they're standing. They have to move out.
It's just chaos. Sinatra, the Meteor Strike, able to get with one, and Ursa punches him right into a wall. We have the Supercharger coming in from Popo here.
He's like, I hope I hit someone.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going down there. He's like, oh, look, I'm going to either hit somebody or I'm going to die. And then finally, you have the Atlanta Reign who come out on top. If you remember, way back at the beginning of the fight, that fight drags out for a while, a lot of craziness. But you mentioned Baby Bay not taking a ton of damage. That's because Gator actually threw his Sigma shield all the way through to the other side, and he was able to jiggle both sides of the shield. So had a little bit of a personal shield there.
Violent
Shock trying to come back and fight.
Yeah, rising uppercut there on Violence, not ideal. They really need to build another Coalescence, and they're not going to be able to do it in this fight. It will be a cursory stall, if that. For San Francisco, the Reigns measly 1 minute and 20 is going to get a nice little boost. 3:50 on the clock.
I think you'll see both main tanks go back to a reset here. Yep. So they had both used Supercharger towards the end. This looks like they'll see Choyobin get
bad spawn.
Bad spawn staggered out, but both Arisas actually use Supercharger. So what they decide to do, both go Wrecking Ball, try and go back, get a touch, maybe swing around, gain some shields, make a play.
That's about how you play Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, I mean, they had known that both of them had reset their ultimate, so there was no reason to not switch because they pretty much knew the other one was going to switch back right after. So just to get back, get a touch. As Sinatra gets really low, as some good cart progress being made here from the Reign.
Gator setting up here for a Gravitic Flux. 3 in that one, but he can't see them to get the damage on them. He tried to get at least one of them down to 50% before they drop to the ground. Fortunately, Baby Bay, though, goes deep with that Death Blossom, still pushing Baby Bay at the 4 right now. Ursta not far behind. You can see he's trying to back Baby Bay up, but perhaps the Reaper was too far forward for Atlanta there. The Shock are able to stabilize now with a sound barrier in this fight, and Massa out of the picture. The Reign aren't going to be able to escape. Sinatra drops in behind them. Now, that was well seen through by Gator. He gets the accretion, gets the kill. And that will actually prevent the Shock from chasing and staggering those last couple of Atlanta players.
Yes, the sound barrier just keeps everybody from the Shock alive. It allows them to push up, stabilize here on the defensive end. If you're Atlanta, how do you get the Shock off of this high ground, get a fight on the cart, and then that's when you can use the Coalescence. You get everybody down on the ground off of this high ground. How do you do it? You don't want to send the Duke.
Oh my!
Baby Bay gets taken out there rather quickly.
Long-range accretion that was from Choyobin. Beautiful.
Yes, how do you get through the choke? How do you get them off of the top of the ship here? So it looks like you're going to send Ursa up maybe to the high ground. There's no way he's going to be able to get through the choke alone and try and make a play for it. Now it comes down low, just wasting some time. That'll be both shields to come out. But I mean, look at this, Mitchell. You have the halts coming through here from the high ground. It's very difficult for Atlanta to push on in.
Oh, Erster gets caught there. Shoryuken had lined up with the hyperspheres. Accretion fade out by Dogman. But you can see, like in the corner of your eye, you just see Striker bounding forwards, knowing he can keep chasing with the healing Violet is giving. And there you go, you can actually heal with Budded Grass from the nose of that aircraft.
And they come up back to the high ground. So as soon as they get the advantage, they drop down, they pounce on the members of the Atlanta Reign down on the low ground.
What do you do? Like, do you try...
You don't want to waste the Coalescence here to try and get them off.
You try and gravitic flux them and get
back of the ship.
You have nothing to get over the top.
How does he live through that? You have to use the Coalescence now to keep players alive through this gravitic flux.
See, that accretion
that doesn't work out.
Did that accretion hit Shoryuken while he was in midair with gravitic flux? He was still able to bring them back down. That's an important point. If you stun too late, you can't stop them.
And this is tough for Atlanta. I mean, they got high ground control here. It's one of the best high ground spots in the game to be able to lock down these chokes.
Yeah, it's just...
Especially now. I mean, it was strong in the past, but now with the ability to halt players into the 4-second stun, right?
The only path to get up here is prohibitively circuitous for attackers. Like, you have to go up around the left side, up the high ground, through the shuttle, then jump on the boxes, and then on the wing. Unless you have a teleporter, Symmetra, Reaper can get up there, but apart from that, like...
Now they get them to drop, but they don't have the Coalescence here.
Right, Striker over the top. Supercharger, will this still affect him? No, back to the rest of his team. They got Gator though, that's big. Pokepo's down, no more tanks. Still the Reign want to try and commit to this one. Well, no good for them. They spend a lot, Matt. Master Sound Barrier, Erster, Pokepo all use ultimates. And they're running out of time, they got none. They had to commit there, Matt. They had no other choice. And I tell you what, this is a real slugfest. Both teams on their maps of choice take W's. And this might be one of those series to define this era of Overwatch, 2 apiece.
Yeah, this one has all the makings of one go in the distance, as both these teams just trading back and forth on their respective map choices. The Gator played good there for the Atlanta Reign. Not good enough, though. We're tied up. See you right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Both of our teams, if you've just joined us, I mean, why I come so late, but
missing
secondly,
out, yeah.
these two teams have been trading blows here between their maps. So both of these teams winning on maps they choose. And with the rain, there's definitely evidence of like a set play that we saw when they chose Horizon. Do they have more maps like this? Can you do that kind of thing on a control map?
I don't think so. Like the set plays really work out on like Escort, Hybrid. In Control, it's way more brawling, like way more just win a team fight, win another team fight, like get 2-3 team fights to go your way, and you're good.
It did work for them in map 1 though. The Shock looked pretty average on Busan, which as it was said on the desk is like not one of their best map types or maps.
I think it's their lowest map type with like 67% percentage or something like that. It's kind of unreal. So we do have one sub. So Rascal will come in here for Striker. So this is the first sub that we've seen from either team throughout the game. I think we've seen good Reaper play from Striker. I feel like the series as a whole, though, has really been about the Sigma players for both sides. Gator for the Atlanta Reign, Choyobin for the Shock,
Matt,
and the Doomfist players.
Gator, I thought, had a better Gibraltar than Choyobin for the most part. I just think the Shock got so entrenched in that second phase, they were able to really get solid. So tell me about Rascal. What do you expect from him in this position now? If you think about who he's replacing coming into the roster.
The next map being Lijiang Tower. You expect him to potentially play some Pharah. If you need it, you can still play the Reaper.
Special Garden.
Yeah, I don't think you really lose much. I think Reaper is a damage dealer hero who a lot of the damage dealers in the league can play Reaper because
there's not a lot to it.
He's also like a classic. Like I mean, his kit's a little bit different in the way it plays out. Like we are going to Lijiang Tower next. The kit's a little bit different in terms of like some minor adjustments to abilities, but still really kind of remains the same from the way the game was when it first came out. So
yeah,
a lot of players even started off as like Reaper mains. Like Reaper was very strong in like the early beginnings of Overwatch.
He was straightforward, and he was popular back then. Now he's had a lot of quality of life changes, like he teleports a bit faster, he reloads when he uses Wraith Walk, things that just enable him to be able to succeed a bit more on his own without a ton of backup. But you'll notice that both of these teams put a lot of resources behind those Reapers to make sure those Death Blossoms, are trading up. So, you can't really go 1-for-1 if you're playing Reaper or Doomfist. You need to go at least 2-for-1. You need to trade up. It's a transaction where you need to come out ahead.
You've seen a good Doomfist play from both these teams, and like we mentioned, the Sigma play, but something we've seen in previous series, a lot what we're seeing now as the meta kind of develops here in the postseason. Is a lot of the halts into the accretion. So that is the big rock that Sigma has. The accretion, it's a large stun. Halt into the stun, quick burst the player down. You're able to get a kill rather easily.
4 seconds or so of players being unable to take action. That's easily enough time in this game. And also halt into Gravitic Flux. We've seen that used a couple of times to great effect.
And also they bringing Rascal back in. Brings this roster much closer to the one that was dominant throughout the whole year. It's really just Smurf in for Super in that Orisa main tank role.
Now you're not seeing Pharah because she's not played on control since this map. Has a roof. Pharah doesn't like them. She likes freedom. See the Reaper from Rascal for the time being. And, the Shock bring him in expecting that they possibly have to play this composition. So
getting control of the staircase here though, first for Atlanta was huge. Hey, we talk about like Sigma's damage output overall as a hero, being able to put down damage into the choke, just throwing the hyperspheres in there. Just a lot of extra damage, and you see Gator 65% of his ultimate, the Choyobin is 36. That's getting control of that early on.
Coalescence has to come out from Dogman now to respond, but is it too late? Gator gets cut down. Rascal having to do work on that Reaper. He gets in that back line, and Baby Bay is in trouble. He's going to pop out of that one and immediately get uppercut by Sinatra. Hey, what's a couple fists thrown between friends?
Sinatra used the Meteor Strike to get on out, so the Shock actually decide they're early on. Hey, we have that Coalescence, let's fight it up. One player down, but the player's coming back to the spawn. Damage dealers get back rather quickly. So they were able to flip the point. So only 17% goes over to the Reign during that. Now the Shock will pass him.
Sinatra drops down. Oh! Popo didn't have a Fortify at the time, or at least he didn't have time to use it. He takes a chunk of damage, which again is stressing the resources of healing for the Atlanta Reign. When they've got Lucio in the composition, Rascal's going to get lifted here. Sound barrier will have expired. And Gator's having to get rid of a Smurf here. Yeah, man, look at the aftermath. The kills don't come immediately, Matt, but when they do, they're fight winning. Clever by Gator, uses the kinetic grasp to prevent taking damage before he touches the ground, so he doesn't immediately die. Choyobin trying to hold the fort on his own. Their big accretion hit, but it is a matter of time. And you cannot stop Doomfist damage with kinetic grasp.
But Moth gets back. Oh, I thought Violet may have been able to get back, get a touch, but needs a fist. It'll the Urster picking up the kill. As now you do have Atlanta in control of the point. Atlanta will have the supercharger here. Supercharger from both teams, so a lot of extra damage. Combo that with the Coalescence through the shields, right? You can start to burn people down. Where does Baby Bay go with this Death Blossom? Looks like he's trying to go on potentially a flank from the high ground.
He wants the shock to commit. He's going to have to go in now. If he gets supercharger, he's probably happy enough with that. If he can get out alive, that's all he gets. So he best be pleased. He's forced to back up a little bit. The shock without Sinatra now, so they play a bit more defensively around their shields. Try and hope that the rain overextend a couple of their players forward. Oh, this could hurt. This could really hurt. In the small tunnel, the Hulk was there as well. Shrikovan is a smear on the ground.
They get so much extra damage though out of Gator. Then Shrikovan. So, you know, these cleanup kills come on through. Gator right now, you know, 4,100 damage to Chiyobin's 2,400.
He's actually almost doing the most. He's doing as much damage as Urster.
Yeah, and that's going to result in another Gravitic Flux here for the Atlanta Reign. Getting like 2 of these ultimates in a point is like point winning when you can take that large AoE, knock down 50% of the HP. Also, it's a good job to force out like support ultimates. At least Sinatra gets the first pick off on Baby Bay here, so that's a huge blow to Atlanta.
Yeah, great opener. The shock already at 51%. They have to go for the sound barrier just to make sure they don't get derailed by that Gravitic Flux. Sinatra a little bit too late on the fist. Urster's able to get past. No real casualties sustained by the shock here, except for those of their ultimate bank. They use quite a few.
This will get flipped. So a lot of this in the first control point. Teams that get up to 99, you win one fight, the other team battles their way back.
Matt, you're looking at Urster here. He is the player that you are hoping that'll open this up. Just a first kill on an important target and the Reign at home.
A first kill, a supercharger, and you're good to go for Atlanta, right?
Let's see if he can get it. Ult thrown in, accretion follow-up. Popo dragged forward, now forced back. Shrikovan, kinetic grasp, beating up a lot of the damage, especially coming from Popo, and there it is! They get the first picks. Baby Bay goes through a celebratory Death Blossom, and just getting the one kill, something you're happy enough with. The Reign are already at 99% here. The shock unable to leverage. Rascals, Farah have to go with the Reaper play. The Atlanta Reign just a bit better.
I don't know though, Mitch, if you're going to be able to win these control points when you're getting out damaged in that Sigma battle that much. I mean, Urster and Sinatra are pretty much playing each other even in the Doomfist game, right? No, both Doomfist trading back and forth. But in this map specifically, I mean, 7,400 damage from Gator there on that point to Chiyobin's 3,300. Atlanta did do a really good job of controlling the chokes early on, which gives Gator a little bit of an advantage in terms of earning that ultimate percentage, getting that damage, but it's a huge discrepancy.
In the head-to-head, Sinatra is doing better than Urster on an individual basis, but it is the Sigma discrepancy that Atlanta are favored in. Rascal also struggled a little bit on Reaper in that round, but I mean, the impact Gator is making is pronounced.
So Rascal doesn't play the bar, so maybe they bring him in because maybe something going on with the comps or like how the team's structured, where Rascal's been a mainstay of this team. That'll be a teleporter to the point from Atlanta as Baby Bay will come out on the Metro.
You feel like you have to favor this composition from the Reign here, right, Matt?
Well, now that they have control of the point, you like it a lot for Atlanta, and this also gives them control of the choke, where you're going to have to walk into the hyperspheres that Gator's going to be throwing down.
And Atlanta don't even have a Lucio. I mean, they get the point first, they control it. Baby Bay charging up. That beam's going to keep on going until there's nothing standing in its way. Smurf looks like the target. Baby Bay, oh, you got to be careful. He's a bit squishy. He steps past his own shield, and he pays the iron price.
Yeah, that's why we haven't seen Symmetra as much as I think some of us anticipated. Is compared to Reaper, she is very squishy, really easy to eliminate. Reaper, he does have the life steal, right? When he's putting down damage, heals himself. Symmetra has none of that. She can put out a ton of damage, but very, very dangerous when you see her cross the lines of the barriers, like you saw Baby Bay there, taken out really quickly. So
you only have 200 health.
Conditioning, yeah.
Half of that is shielding. So it means you want to duck in and out. Use your shielding. Yeah, it's going to be a lot here. Wall plays right at the back here. And yet the Reign don't really play behind it. They come forward, especially after getting rid of Rascal. Perhaps they're ready to go. Moth was not going to escape there. And I mean, look at what Symmetra's offering here, Matt. A lot of control mid-fight, some mobility later on. The teleporter coming forward. The Reign looking good here.
Yeah, and there's no real reason for them to play behind the Symmetra shield because the Coalescence just goes on through. I mean, they're trying to pump down the damage with the Coalescence there. Do have the teleporter here. It looks like a few players using it to go back to the choke. So they'll be able to use this behind the Orisa shield. Hey, if you start to get dangerously low, we can back up right to the point. Don't have to run all the way back. That, you know, by losing the Lucio, they gain some of that mobility by having the Symmetra.
And they have Immortality Field, which for Symmetra is ridiculous. The longer you can keep her alive, that consistent damage is going to keep coming. Great accretion there, that really forced Sinatra out of position. Gravitic Flux, both teams actually knocked up now. It's messy, but the shot come out on top. All you need to know there is that a lot of key ultimates were used. Both Sigma ultimates, a supercharge from Poco. Master threw up an amplification matrix. Sinatra had to come in with his own Meteor Strike, and Rascal used the Death Blossom.
I think if you're Atlanta in that point, you see them using everything, you kind of commit as well, and it's like, well, if we win this fight, we win this point, we win the map. So you're in a good spot. It'll be a Symmetra shield comes in from Babybay, splits it right down the center of the point.
This lets you advance without taking any poke damage. This is ideal. Amplification Matrix had to be used there. It's going to get taken down now. Gator gets rid of Sinatra. Look at this, the Shock trying to get aggressive. Perhaps they think this is the answer. But Babybay is charged up, sitting in the background, and no one's paying him much attention. He gets rid of the supercharger, and he's going to teleport in. Oh, this guy is absolutely mad. He chases down Violet, and the damage from behind.
So much damage.
The beams, baby! Violet gets taken down by Erster, coming in with a Meteor Strike. But the Symmetra, the big difference maker here. Never thought I'd say that. But here we are, it's 2019, and she is dominating.
Symmetra puts out so much damage when you see Babybay charge up there that there's not enough time to go up there, look, kill the Immortality Field, and then look back down, because you're going to be dead to the sim. Babybay using the teleporter, being able to get some teammates back to the point. Is the Shock going to have one good attempt to be able to break this here, or else Atlanta's going to take the map.
What do they have to work with? Next to nothing. Here's another barrier put up by Babybay once more. The Shock have to push past it, but they're going to walk into a bunch of turrets. Trickhoven takes so much damage, and now on the back line, it's going to be an amplification matrix thrown down. We are in overtime, and Babybay has already struck his first kill. Violet and Moth are down. There's no healing left for San Francisco. Now no tanks left, and the damage is soon to follow. The Atlanta Reign take another one, and it is tit for tat gameplay here in this quarterfinal. The Atlanta Reign will not bow down.
Atlanta goes up 3-2 in the series, one map away from beating the Shock. Both of these teams have not lost in regular season play since June. The two hottest teams in the league, but right now, Atlanta looks to be coming out on top.
Must-win territory coming up after this game break for the San Francisco Shock.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
him.
Doing that. Pocket me, pocket me.
I got you.
Lucio.
More. Let's get it. Nice.
Everyone take a breath. Take a very, very deep breath, okay? Everybody on three. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath.
Clutch the baby. Let's go.
Good. Beautiful stuff.
He hit him.
Welcome back to another game break. Safe to say that Atlanta was pretty hype after winning map 3 on Horizon. RIP headphones. It was so loud. But anyways, guys, Malik here. We got Soe and Brand. Man, this match is as even as it could possibly get. It seems like every time a team picks a map, they win the map. And like I said, I told you guys, this has been a banger. Straight up banger.
You got to give props to Atlanta Reign here. They're coming in with set strategies. They're coming in with a game plan on every single map. I mean, we've known that Atlanta Reign were probably going to be pulling out the Symmetra on that section of Lijiang for ages. They were playing it in the regular season, and now we finally get to see it in the playoffs. I mean, they're pulling out some absolutely dirty strategies. I just don't even know. There was points in that game where I'm just like, what does Shock even do at that point?
Well, let's check out some of those dirty strategies, because one of those was on Horizon Lunar Colony. We got to see the May Bastion setup from Atlanta. They were able to pull out the full hold. Just some crazy stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like, it's not like Atlanta looked particularly good on their offense. Honestly, it does look like this should have been a win for the San Francisco Shock, who didn't play bad either. But then Atlanta Reign on the defense just completely shut them down. And that was once again due to a phenomenal individual experience, or rather performances, not experience. It was a great experience to watch it. Erster on that Tracer, Striker on the Tracer. We finally get to see a Tracer battle again. I don't think any one of us expected that to happen today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to see when it does happen, but as well, it's the Shock. I did say, generally after these little breaks that we have, where they have a time to talk to their coaches, they tend to play better, but it has been incredibly even between. That was just absurd. I don't know how you're going to be able to predict that. I mean, Baby was just invisible there, but these games have been so incredibly close and backwards and forwards between all of them. But one thing I've seen at Atlanta Reign doing, you see Gator here, he's playing at off angles all the time. He's playing never really with his team. Yeah. And you don't see teams doing this. But the reason why...
It's very risky.
It's super risky.
You get caught out a lot.
Right, exactly. And you don't have an opportunity to use the rock, to use your shield, to peel for the rest of your team. Peel as in using it defensively to try and protect your team. Gator's being incredibly aggressive at a lot of these off angles. And it's working sometimes because Shock just seem to be struggling to adapt to it in the moment as it's happening.
I mean, it works due to the play of Baby Bay and Erster. With the Reaper and the Doomfist being so much in their face, Gator does have the space to coming from those off angles, and it surprised them as they are just generally busy with the front line. Erster is going in and out like no other, and that is kind of the beauty of that Doomfist, right? Having that Doomfist in your lineup who does force this really quick pace game, who does force you to pay attention in the front line as he can just jump in and out of the action.
Yeah, I do feel sorry as well for the Shock, because they subbed in Rascal here for what I can only assume was a Pharah-based composition. Right. Probably for the Garden section, which we actually didn't see. There was only 2 rounds of control played. The next one would have been Gardens.
Yeah.
It's RNG at the end of the day, but if they had managed to get that, we could have been looking at a different scoreline here today. Yeah. Again, that 1 round can make a difference in terms of the momentum moving forward. But again, you saw the tail end of there. That's Symmetra strategy. When you get set up on the point and you've got turrets all over the place, it's a nightmare to push in. It's so difficult.
It's so much damage.
Yeah.
I forgot how very annoying that is. Like, it hurts me to watch how much damage that Symmetra. It does hurt. I think everyone out there feels just a little bit of pain watching it. Yeah, see, he gets me.
Yeah, Reno was giving me a little bit of flack when I called the Symmetra earlier today, but I'm glad we finally see some Symmetra. Some good play. Some good play. All right, so we've got another hybrid map coming up, so let's see where we're headed for map 6 real quick with our map set. And it looks like we are going to Kings Row. Now, fun fact, both of these teams have losing records on Kings Row, but who do you think is favoring going into it?
It's up in the air. I would say that it would be Shock if Rascal was playing, because I think they might try and play some Pharah compositions opening up on it, but I know that Rascal's not playing because I saw him running back there with his mouse mat. So I know that he's not playing on it. But I mean, hopefully that Shock do have something that they can pull out here, because they're a team that like to rely on their neutral game. And that's like, they don't like to play around with cheese compositions, the niche strategies that other teams like to. Yeah. They tend to just try and rely on their own game sense and their own skill to just outmatch their opponent.
I do feel like that might be what causes them to be a little bit at a disadvantage here, because what the Reign are pulling at looks very set. It looks very much tailored to the style the San Francisco are playing. So if San Francisco Shock can't adapt to the play style from the Atlanta Reign, they might actually lose this one.
Interesting. All right, well, real quick, before we go back to the game, because I don't want to cut you off. I just got my ear that there's like a special fan in the audience right now that we're supposed to be checking out.
Every fan in
Is it
Japan.
Puckett?
Oh, there he is. It's
Oh,
Puckett.
there.
Oh, look at that.
It's the Puck Fist.
I was actually expecting Puckett. There he is.
I know he's enjoying this match with all the Doomfist play we've been seeing.
Yeah, he heard that we were seeing Doomfist, so he like jumped into his Toyota and went straight to the straight to the arena.
He's going places.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Well, guys, I don't know about you, but I want to see the conclusion of this match. Atlanta, they're just one map away from pulling off the biggest upset here in the playoffs so far. We'll see if Sinatra and the San Francisco Shock can turn things around when we come back.
Support your team with the official Overwatch League Coca-Cola bottles at CokeStore.com. Ships to all 50 U.S. states, Washington, D.C., and U.S. P.O. boxes.
Well, many of us coming into this game expected it to be one of the more exciting ones, but perhaps not nearly this close.
Right.
Those that came out here today definitely got what they bargained for. And now the San Francisco Shock, I mean, they are staring down the barrel of a loss here. It's match point currently for the Atlanta Reign.
And I don't think it's been a scenario where the Shock has really looked bad. I think it's just that these are two really strong teams. In my opinion, the two strongest teams coming into the playoffs, albeit a very different meta than we saw in Stage 4. But Atlanta has gotten the better of them today. So we do have a sub for Kings Row. So Striker will come back in for Rascal. Something we were talking a little bit about during the break. Where is Architect? I feel like Architect provides you the Reaper play that we've seen from Striker and we've seen from Rascal. Also provides you the flexibility to play something like a Pharah, play like Widowmaker, Genji. I mean, you can play a lot of the heroes you would put in.
Maybe they're looking for more of a specialist. I mean, Kings Row is the kind of map where, I mean, I don't really expect to see a ton of Widowmaker play, maybe a little bit on first, but usually it's just to scout or find an early pick.
With double shields so prevalent, it's difficult to kind of get it in.
Architect looked phenomenal on the Reaper especially, so there's obviously a reason why the Shock have decided to pass him over.
You go back and look at some of the games from the Shock in Stage 4. I mean, Architect was a beast in all of them. I mean, you're kind of comparing him to how good Urster was for the Reign. So it'll be Atlanta here on defense. If they were to win, they win the series here. If the Shock are able to battle back, we'll see a final game, a Game 7.
That's it. Draw here as well. We'll just keep going. That would be the case.
That would be. I forgot about the always draw scenario. It's, Baby Bay looked like he was in trouble. He gets back, but may have put his team in a bad spot.
Sinatra was able to draw Gator out of formation, but not get the kill on it. With Moira, there's so much healing available. So many, ways of just putting a band-aid on it. the back line. Oh dear, he walked headfirst into that one. The accretion was too late to keep Baby Bay alive, and Sinatra was able to complete the kill, and now it appears he's angry.
Yeah, but it's just the positioning there from Atlanta, and it starts with them trying to get the shields back for Baby Bays. He's trying to come back in raid form. He's coming out of it. They need to go up to help him. Puts everybody in a little bit of an open space out on the point. That allows the Shock to take advantage. They'll take point A. They'll get the payload. Coalescence for both teams. You expect them to both be used rather quickly as Moira can build it up rather fast. In this choke, a good opportunity to use it. You see Baby Bay here lurking.
Oh, I can't believe he's got this far. That's crazy. Violet,
Moira.
Yep. Violet now in Coalescence. Can they keep Smurf alive? Just, and they get Baby Bay as a result. That's beautiful stuff. I mean, Baby Bay has a past in other FPS games that actually require a lot more stealth. Like Counter-Strike, for example. So I guess maybe just, you know, playing the lurk role. Getting in as the Reaper. It doesn't work out there either, though. And Sinatra, by the way, already has 5 final blows of his team's 11.
Choyoven uses the Gravitic Flux during that fight. No sound barrier available for the Atlanta Reign, so you're able to get that 50% damage on all those players stuck inside of it. Now, though, for Atlanta, you'll have the opportunity to use your Gravitic Flux. You have a Supercharger as well, so this will be a good opportunity for Atlanta to try and get a defensive stand here. They haven't had a one so far here at Kings Row.
Supercharger placed very far forward. The Shocker placed that within range for Atlanta to get rid of it. And they do, after they get rid of Choyoven there. That was interesting setup by Smurf. Can this be recovered by the Shock? They're going to invest in those sound barrier here. Sinatra, he's going to get dropped. Yeah, 2 for Gator. Again, just a quick look at the health bars of the enemies that were suspended in midair. Gator makes it 4. That's just disgusting.
It's nasty. But now, though, when you use all these ultimates for Atlanta, you kind of have to, but that's what the Shock wanted them to do. That's what the Shock earned by getting the payload this far. Now they'll have Coalescence, they'll have their own Death Blossom, and then Choyoven about halfway to another Gravitic Flux. If you can get that, you think you get it before Moss has a sound barrier or able to use that ultimate. If you get a good one, Choyoven's had some ones that are questionable today, you think you're able to get the cart moving again, potentially take that second point.
Here it is, Coalescence to start the fight. Striker comes forward. Looks like he was immediately uppercut as he came out of that teleport. Don't matter though, he drops down. He's already gotten 2, and Popo shredded by the Death Blossom.
You don't even need to wait for that Gravitic Flux. You use the Coalescence, you get that Death Blossom, Striker in position to make a play, and you'll be able to take that second point here on Kings Row. So just one really good defense for Atlanta. Otherwise, it's been all Shock here on offense. Atlanta needs a hold here.
It was brought up at, oh my gosh, the whole into accretion. It was brought up at halftime, the difference between play style of these Sigma players, right? You see, you know, Brent pointed out, Gator likes to play off angles, looks for opportunities to get damage. Now, maybe that is riskier, but you have Moira to heal you. So, is it really that risky? Gets you more damage. Big impact from Gator so far.
You need to play aggressive around this corner if you're Atlanta. You cannot let the cart get around this corner for free.
Sure, give Erster. Long range just to try and set up Rocket Punch, and Gator has just noticed Striker going for the flank. He's called that out, but everyone got drawn up into the air. Popo taken down by the Gravitic Flux, and Gator not really sure where to look right now. Erster trying to disrupt people. Fortunately, that seismic slam is not enough, not even close. 7 final blows to Sinatra, 13 between Sinatra and Striker. Do the math. Only 1 final blow between the damage dealers on Atlanta. They are way behind.
You don't have any damage dealer ultimates here, no Supercharger. It'd really be just Sound Barrier and Gravitic Flux here for the Reign on defense.
Ooh, Gator
so weak.
Had to quickly respond with that kinetic grasp. Doesn't allow Sinatra to get in undetected. Not quite. The sound barrier, though, was able to fortify him heading forward, and Striker, as soon as that tension has gone away, he unfurls, and so does the Death Blossom. Well, perhaps some of our concerns about Striker in over Architect or another player have been quashed. A very quick finish for the San Francisco Shock. 3 minutes, 12 seconds on the dial.
A series that's been really competitive. This first half here on Kings Row is all San Francisco. Striker with the 4K here to wrap things up. It completes their offense. 3 minutes and 12 seconds in the time bank. A dominant map here for the Shock. We'll see Atlanta's offense after this.
Support your team with the official Overwatch League Coca-Cola bottles at CokeStore.com. Ships to all 50 U.S. states, Washington, D.C., and U.S. P.O. boxes.
This will heal you. The payload has reached station. Cease your resistance.
Four-player Death Blossom from Striker. That's what sealed the deal. And for the San Francisco Shock, you have to be pleased with over 3 minutes on the time back after King's Row. There was only, 5 final blows from the entire Atlanta Reign roster. They, on defense, they looked like they had some real problems.
It's also a lot of the players on the Atlanta Reign. I mean, this is like their first real big test, I would say. Like, they played well throughout the regular season. They had a tremendous stage 4. But you go into the playoffs against a team that has been this good all season long, stage champions. It's much harder to win that final game against that stage champions. Remember we were talking about stage 1, how good the Vancouver Titans were. They had that championship pedigree. The Shock ended up losing that. They needed that loss there to win the next time around.
It fueled them.
Yeah. It's like, how does Atlanta, in their first rodeo, so to speak, get over the champ?
I mean, they have to want it more.
Yeah.
They just have to want it more than the Shock do, Matt. And I don't know how easy that really is at this point. I mean, that's all they've been thinking about this whole year. Stage titles have come and gone. But they've been focusing on the big trophy, the big prize. Maybe they see Sinatra. Obviously, he doesn't want to walk in a straight line towards him. That would be suicidal. So he opts to drop down and maybe get some extra damage on shields, work his way through. He's not been noticed. Oh, Sinatra has been tracking him across the map, perhaps. He meets him inside the hotel and forces him back once more. Was that accretion that knocked everyone up? That was brutal.
And it's a nice teleport from Baby Bait, get behind, and then just damage down from Urster on the front side, able to connect with 2. This looks like it'll be the Atlanta Reign able to take the first point. And that almost happened earlier. Masa actually had a nice boop getting the Shock out of that corner, a little bit out onto the point. But Atlanta was not in position to follow it up. That time, though, the teleport from Baby Bait, 2 kickoffs from Urster. Results in Atlanta taking that point.
I mean, it just opens up with Urster hitting a rocket punch.
Yeah.
I think he hit Sinatra with that one, and then it's pretty much over. Like your biggest remover of players. I mean, Reaper doesn't bring burst damage unless it's Death Blossom, and even then it's probably more over time. Doomfist is your burst damage. He's the one that doesn't care about healing. Good rocket punch. Doesn't matter if Moira is out there just going nuts with fighting ground. He won't save your teammate. That's what he's trying to do once more. Meteor Strike, reposition here. Oh no. Into the flux! It's just like the entirety of the Shock got dropped on top of a cactus.
Oh, it's the perfect timing as well. Those players hitting the ground, losing 50% of their max HP. Any HP they got left, it's going away to that Meteor Strike.
That's the real Space Jam. That is very hard to counter unless, you know, there's a Lucio that gets a sound barrier as your team are thrown up. You can, you know, soak up some of that damage that you'd otherwise be taking.
Atlanta in this next fight, you know, if Coalescence comes out, you have a sound barrier to use. You have to have an idea they're not close to their Gravitic Flux. Sound barrier, you have Baby Bay with a Death Blossom coming up here very shortly.
So far it's been all Erster. Baby Bay looking to get some of that spotlight back for himself, but he gets hit with accretion, goes reflexively for a Death Blossom. It doesn't pay off. It's a trade out though. The Shock still lost Sinatra and Striker has to step up in his absence. Smurf shield was broken. Gonna throw down the supercharger though, and this is what the Shock absolutely need to plant their feet. Very close to a Gravitic Flux now. There's a Coalescence coming out. Does Troy Herbert go? Despite that, he does. Gator has a lot of shielding though. So he's not gonna mind being dropped down at all. Smurf supercharger was gone. The Shock's window to have more damage, perhaps an advantage, has now gone away. The Rain have a long spawn distance, but they have Erster and Baby Bay back in the fray. Sinatra sees Dogman. Can he get a pick there? He's looking for something, anything. Again, forced to back away. Striker gets one. He gets one with the Death Blossom. Smurf goes down though. So big shield missing for the Shock, and this could get nasty for them. It's a 4v4. Sinatra drops down now with the Meteor Strike, and Baby Bay locks eyes with him. Tries to chase him across, but there's a shield in his way. Massa gets the finish off, but Baby Bay's hit with a accretion. He's able to recover from it. Now steps forward, trying to get into the back line. Massa helping him out. They're able to break through now. The Death Blossom, they won't be shielding for it. Violet somehow stays alive, but not for long.
Smurf comes back here on the Wrecking Ball as well as the Shock just throwing bodies at the point, but Atlanta will be able to get over the hump as they get that second point. But Pokepo's a supercharger. They waited out long enough for him to get it. Baby Bay able to pick up some kills after Sinatra comes through, picks up like 3, but not enough to win it.
This map's going to be a slug. Baby Bay got 6 kills in that last fight.
And Gator's going to have a Gravitic Flux here coming up shortly around this corner, and this second corner is so big.
Moth has sound barrier. He's going to need to use it before the Flux comes out. Gator hasn't gone to use it yet. Sound barrier. Oh, the timing is perfect. Moth gets it off. Here comes the drop. A lot of damage still, though. Good time from Gator, gets the Flux just late enough that a lot of that sound barrier has decayed away. Striker thrown down the pit by that accretion. Even though there was a support ultimate, that's just how scary Gravitic Flux is.
And Erster with a Meteor Strike and Dogman with a Coalescence. Can they finish with a better time than San Francisco?
Smurf can't touch, he's holding away, they do! They're ahead by 13 seconds.
Wow.
Talk about answering a challenge.
I didn't see that one coming. I thought the way this series was going, maybe we get like a first point hold, second point hold for the Shock. We move on to the next game. I did not expect Atlanta to be able to complete the map and with a better time than San Francisco.
Dogman was petitioning our referee for some more hydration. It was declined. He is still in the map. Well, that yelling, it'll take its toll, I would know.
It's, Gator with the Gravitic Flux there at the end. Something we mentioned throughout the series. Bren mentioned it, I know, during their last game break. It's just the angles he's taking right after the Gravitic Flux. What does he do? He lands up on the high ground. He's able to shoot over the shields. The Hypersphere's primary fire, Sigma, AoE, so hitting 3 players behind that shield, drop down. You have the Reaper up in there as well. You're able to put down enough damage to finish some players off.
I mean, that's what some people don't consider perhaps about Gravitic Flux, is that you float up while you are charging it, and you can use it to reposition. Mid-fight, getting high ground with AoE damage on your primary fire seems pretty darn good.
It's dangerous to use, like just kind of float throughout the air. I mean, you can get taken out, but in that type of situation, especially in the scenario in these types of games where you're not worried about like a, let's say, getting hacked flying through the air, if there's a Sombra out there, or like a Widowmaker headshot when you're playing characters that do damage close quarters, you can be a little bit higher up on the Sigmas.
All right, into extra innings now. The Shock had slightly less time, so they had to attack again. Sinatra probably feeling like a pinball presently. But he's able to help out getting rid of Pokepo. Both teams have lost their Orisses. Now it's just Sigma shielding. Okay, Sinatra maybe use the right hand for punching. The left one doesn't quite hit as hard. They got reversed to though. Chocoban's forced to back away though. Spawn advantage for the Shock. They'll have players back in position quicker. Moth! Oh man! Gets the duel win against Baby Bay.
There's never a time he is in a bad position. Is Baby Bay trying to jump down onto Violet in the back? And Moth with a boop, and then the 1v1 there able to take out the Reaper.
See, Violet tried to work down Gator on his own there. Getting the Sigma off the table in that part of the fight would have been huge. I didn't quite get the kill. There was healing there. Gator still stands now. Baby has returned to the fight. Erster in. Sinatra looking for a punch. He got Massa. Smurf's down again, but it doesn't matter. No supports now left the Atlanta Reign, and it all falls apart. The shock takes them about a minute to get the fight win, but they get there one way or another.
And I think Atlanta got what they wanted out of that. Is Moth has to invest the sound barrier. If you're the Shock, you absolutely need the point. You have to use it. You can come back now. If you're the Atlanta Reign, you have your own sound barrier here shortly to deal with the Gravitic Flux that Trioben will have. Gator will be able to use his pretty freely here in these chokes. So should be able to get at least another hold here for Atlanta, but the cart is moving now through the streets.
Bouncing those hyperspheres. Here it is. Oh my! Trioben beefs the Gravitic Flux, something chronic. Still able to get rid of Ursa though after that, so maybe making up for it, but Baby drops in. Hey Shock, why are you all hanging around? Come join me down here. Trioben is down. Baby just trying to break shields right now. Smurf is still standing, but he repositions a bit further back, and the Shock might have hedged themselves into a very small space here. Baby's in a great spot to get rid of Violet, man. I mean, you asked for it, playing in a corner.
But Sinatra takes out Dogman, who's using the Coalescence, and for Atlanta, you're gonna be able to come out on top, but you don't have that Coalescence anymore. It's so dangerous to use that ultimate in this area of the map. I mean, especially playing against Doomfist, 50% chance you just get kind of punched out of the just of Doomfist flying around the corner.
But I mean, the elephant in the room, Matt, you have to hit that Gravitic Flux on this part of the
map. I mean, you do.
That hurt the Shock so badly. Still able to get some progress. The Reign are forced to back up.
I mean, on Gibraltar, Gator had 10 Gravitic Flux kills to Trioben's 1. Here you have 9 for Gator to Trioben's 6. So Trioben a little bit better, but still a little bit far behind that ultimate.
Shield thrown out again. Trioben gets hit with a rocket punch. Wants to come forward. Needs to be another big slam, and he gets Poke. The anchor tank is down for the Reign. Sinatra. Oh, he gets yet another on a Baby just as he came around the corner. And he didn't even mean to get Gator then. What are the 5 singers? What are the... I don't know.
Power of Doomfist. You don't intend to get somebody, they walk into your line of sight.
It's like Hanzo, right?
Somebody. Yeah.
Shock get to the last stage of the map in overtime. I mean, it's not bad considering how much time they had to work with. They dilly-dallied a little bit on the second point. Trioben now has another chance at redemption here for Gravitic Flux. There's a chance to take the high ground after. Let's see. Oh, the hold! It's good, but a Soundberry is even better. Dogman and Massa able to keep their team alive with 2 support ults, so they had to layer them to keep them in the fight. Gravitic Flux. Oh, Gator gets 2 and Baby follows up 1. That'll do it. That'll be enough. And that combo consistently looks very nasty. Halt in. Everyone gets thrown up and they're dropped on top of an ulting Reaper. Not a damn thing you can do about it.
And you wonder what Atlanta, you couldn't really get a feel for the players on stage with the camps of like what they thought of that hold. Is it good enough with 3 minutes 25? Obviously, you would have liked it earlier, but still, you think it's still winnable. The Shock have been here before. You remember back stage 1 finals, that Rialto game?
Oh my gosh.
They set a tremendous time on offense
and
against
then they
Vancouver.
Got completely rolled.
Vancouver comes back, so it's a better time. They're able to win it in OT.
But Matt, the win condition for the Atlanta Reign has now been set. Yep. They can advance in this upper bracket to the semi-finals. A rematch against the NYXL if they get to this part of the map.
And mind you, they are 2-0 against NYXL this year. Yep. They beat them back-to-back weeks. It wasn't like they had a long time to go back and
there was a
plan and whatnot.
There was a break, I think, between those games, but they were back-to-back as far as the schedule's concerned. Doesn't matter. Atlanta Reign, I mean, they've got a very good record against New York. The Shock need to hold them off and trying to force a map 7.
If you're either of these teams, the team that you were probably worried about coming into the playoffs the most is the other team in this match. So if you think, if you're the Shock or the Reign, whoever wins this, you make it way tougher for that other team to make it all the way to the grand final, and you think you paved the way for you to just coast your way through.
San Francisco now have to stand their ground. Halt in. Oh my, that is a very big rising uppercut. Multiple players caught by that as they'll start into the Halt, but the Shock are a little bit far forward of their shields. Okay, that's pretty clear. Baby still gets into the back line though. And with the changes to his teleport, that doesn't interrupt it. Oh, he sees this coming a mile off now. Erster. Okay, Striker sees Baby Bay though. Even though it was obvious, he's able to get in and get the kill. Is this the shock? Doing it again?
Striker knew that Baby Bay had no cooldown. This teleporter to come in, he needed to use Wraith Form to get away.
Yeah.
As soon as he got through the hotel, he knew he was clear to just chase him around the corner.
I mean, you are doing a lot of tab keeping on your opposition number Reaper. You're yelling it to your team. He has no Wraith Walk. Chase him down.
Yeah.
Well, time to go again. Coalescence time. Smurf already uses Fortify in the front there. Gator has to back away. He's not looking healthy. Baby Bay now being focused a little bit more.
You just traded Coalescence for Coalescence there. I mean, nothing but look at this. Triobin, 88% of the Gravitic Flux. You've controlled the choke, you control the damage
Moss
output.
is closer to the sound barrier though, Matt. Mott's still a little ways away. Sinatra stunned in midair. Gonna use his rocket punch to reposition, but it's off cooldown in a couple of seconds. The Rain have to get out. Sinatra. Now, old Sinatra would have chased that in, but this is the new refined Sinatra.
This is bad for Atlanta. I mean, you're forcing ults to trade ultimates, and then the shot can hold on here. Baby Bay will teleport behind enemy lines, trying to make a play.
Erster's going to get more and more desperate for these kills as time goes on. He has to start dialing up the aggression. Here's a sound barrier. Erster's trying to wait it out. He goes in with a seismic slam, doesn't find anything. Meteor Strike came in, he got violent in the end, but Pokepo's down. Only one shield left for the Atlanta Rain, but it looks like that's all they need. They are all aggression, all fire right now. Tricoven goes down to his own accretion to AoE damage. By the looks of things, perhaps it was the Hyperspheres, but the Rain get rid of them on point A. I tell you what though, this next part of the map is going to be treacherous. They are not going to get the time extension.
If you're the Shock, just make it costly. Make these first fights really costly
without
for
letting
Atlanta.
it snowball.
Without letting it snowball. So Atlanta will get the payload. A minute to go on the clock. You can see at the top of your screen, they gotta get to that golden tick, that golden box of victory. Atlanta wants to take the series here.
Gator has the Shock right where he wants them, in close quarters, and he has Gravitic Flux online. Moth doesn't have a sound barrier, and he wants the Shock to group up. Accretion thrown out, quick Gravitic Flux now. Tricoven set skyward. Just him though, he's taken down as Smurf actually removed. 1-for-1 trades across the board. Here is the Striker and Sinatra getting rid of the key target. The Striker doubles down. Gator's in deep trouble now. Coalescence going to be cutting through the fight, and that healing is very good. Massa can't get away.
Dogman ends up using his Coalescence at the end here, thinking it's still winnable. 15 seconds left. You're going to have a tremendous run here for Atlanta Rain to move the payload the distance.
San Francisco looking to force the map 7. The Rain have a couple of key ultimates now. They have to dominate in this fight and maybe even win another. Overtime has begun and Tricoven has Gravitic Flux online. Supercharger down for Atlanta. Here comes the Flux! Thrown up in the air is Gator, coming straight back down and Tricoven had to finish, follows up with an accretion, but Violet able to get away. It looked like he was able to escape. Dogman faded out, taken down by Tricoven later on. Sinatra has to do a lot of work, but he's got no teammates and he has to let this roll.
But Mitch, he only gets one with the Gravitic Flux, and they don't even force the sound barrier out. So now Massa will have this sound barrier, but Massa has to go back. He goes back and he's speeding the rest of the team back
The
here.
Rain can't leave the payload.
No.
They need their teammates to be there.
They're bringing back Gator.
This
and
little delay gives them
Dogman
time
here as well.
That little delay gave them enough time, but now Supercharger placed back around the corner in a safe spot. Baby Bay low. Sound barrier has to come out here from Massa to keep them up. Baby Bay wants to play aggressively, but Sinatra's looking to get into the back line. Baby Bay's down. Reaper's missing. Tries to trade it out, but it is the Shock. They come alive right when it counts. This series is going the distance, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
Striker comes alive here on King's Row. The Reaper Doomfist combination from Striker Sinatra was clutch in forcing this game 7. We'll see you for that one right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
And in the turn that perhaps no one could have really predicted, the Atlanta Reign have pushed the shock to the very limit. Map 7 will be the decider. It is not a map, I won't spoil it, but it is not a map that can be drawn.
No. So, will be an escort map. I think this is a good throwback here for the shock. So
we were just talking about
we were just talking about this. So the final map in the series will be Rialto. So King's Row goes in favor to the San Francisco Shock. We are not in map 6, we are in map 7. This will be all hero here. As Striker is going to stay in the game. So we've seen Rascal come in for the shock. That's about it. No substitutions for Atlanta the entire time. So no N layer, no FRD, no Dako, none of those players coming in. They've been playing Gator in the Sigma role, and he's been quite good. So.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Trickoven plays a bit more supportively. He's not as aggressive on that Sigma role, so Gator looks better when we look at our stats here. And at the end of the day, though, it's a team game, and the Shock and Reign are both vying for this last map.
Atlanta play the Pharah Bastion on defense. So.
Oh, yes, that old one, yeah.
They'll have Dogman play the Baptiste, so he'll stay up on the high ground with the tanks and the Bastion. And then with the Pharah, you have the Mercy. So if they try and dive on top of the Bastion, you'll be able to shoot all the Pharah rockets down on top.
Yeah, this is a throwback to what we saw on Horizon Lunar Colony. The Mercy in the mix.
They leave Sinatra here at the beginning of the choke to potentially try and move the cart, but Ursa's going to fight this. Yeah, I mean Sinatra gets really low, has to back out.
Okay, now how do you get rid of this? Oh dear, nice little concussive blast onto the high ground. Moxel got rid of Gator, knocked him off into the drink. Even with that immortality field there. Oh no, he's done it again! What a monster!
Oh man.
Brings the Reign to their knees, and the cart is on the road.
Those shades of agility. You remember agility?
Oh, you thought you could get away with that, didn't you, Atlanta? Come on!
Well, let's take another look at this from Bob's POV.
Another day in the office. That's the first.
Let me go back right up there.
Get out of my house!
That is nasty. So, Striker still on the Reaper here. Sinatra goes back to Doomfist, goes on Tracer for a little bit. So. Baby Bay will get one Ursa with another, so Atlanta stabilizes, although it's pretty flashy from the Shock to get the cart going in this next fight. It's all Atlanta.
I mean, you're definitely thinking about, can they stave off tilt? The answer is yes, the Reign are dialed in. It is the decider map of this series, and even a 4K from Mock won't stop that.
It's pretty big, though, for Atlanta to get that next fight win. The people in here going crazy, you know, the big boop, a lot of emotion going on.
It's the momentum for the Shock that they've always used to propel themselves forward. Slowed up a bit now. And there's no chance for any cheesy boops here. You've got to do the old-fashioned way. Nose to the grindstone. Sound barrier here for Mock. Again, 2 support ultimates in this fight, but Dogman and Gator are caught out. Baby Bay tries to get into the back line. Again, it's back and forth. These teams winning at alternate maps. Now on Rialto, winning at alternate fights. This should pave the way now for the Shock.
Because of the changes on defense here for Atlanta, some of their players, you're going to be behind in terms of ultimates. You will probably get another touch here, though.
They get a
challenge underneath the bridge.
They have good ultimates here. They can counter with sound barrier. The Shock don't have a sound barrier for Gator's Gravitic Flux. You may not even need it.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. Sound barrier
from Ursa
still came out.
Bro, every time you think the Shock are going to start running away with it and make a play and really take control of the game, Atlanta battles back tough. I mean, they come through with a big fight. That one, you're able to hold on to your Gravitic Flux. Ursa picks up 2 kills. Now look, I mean, you're going to have your Coalescence. You're going to have the Gravitic Flux. Meteor Strike, Death Blossom. Doesn't look that bad. You got a minute left on the clock here for the Shock.
And Gator is just hoping, waiting for the Shock to present themselves. All nice and clumped up for him to send them skyward. Gravitic Flux from the Shock first. Gator, oh! Interrupted! Got him with the accretion! Oh, it couldn't have got any worse for him! Ursa drops down. I mean, he can only really get that 1 kill. Death Blossom from Striker and Baby Bay in that fight, but the Shock! Everything coming up for them in that last fight. And one of the deadliest components of the Reign, Gator and his Gravitic Flux, taken offline.
Yeah, they'll get that first point, which is difficult to do on Rialto. Pretty defensive map here. to be able to get the cart over the bridge, see what Atlanta decides to do on defense. Where do they want to fight this? They want to jump out. They want to be aggressive out the window. Looks like they're going to go with the Coalescences. That'll be a punch from Sinatra. Comes on through on a Dogman, so not going to have that Coalescence back him up.
I mean, that's so big. A fight where Sinatra actually gets nothing going early on. The Shock's still able to dominate. You know, while Sinatra's busy repositioning, he eventually gets the finish on Gator, but that was Striker and Co on the ground.
And now you're going to have the supercharger here for Smurf, which you think is enough when you have to fight in this open space.
Matt, it's the sound barrier for Moth that's potentially bigger.
I think you don't even need it. I think you use this and see what comes out of it.
Striker goes low. Smurf being forced on back. Baby Bay realized he'd gone a little bit too far. Gravitic Flux! Everybody brought up and down again. Well, that's physics for you, I guess. Meteor striking from Ursa. Sound barrier there for the Atlanta Reign. One of the sickest fluxes we've seen, but it's not enough to win a fight.
Oh, look, when you got Ursa out there, nothing's enough, it seems like. That'll be 3 for Ursa in the fight. Violet Paxdown has the Coalescences. It just took a while for it to develop with a Shock, and that allows Pokpo to build up towards his supercharger, so he drops that big Orisa ultimate. Great for the extra damage for everybody, especially the Moiras, who have been putting down a ton of damage on the series. The King's Row, Violet had like 65 of limbs, just throwing those orbs, getting them all in there. So it looks like the Shock gonna go inside of the mansion here.
Risky.
Wrap around, try and take this high ground.
The Shock don't really have any walls to knock any of the reigning to if they play from here, whereas the inverse is not the same. Gator with the Gravitic Flux. Coalescence coming through. Gator throws this one down awfully fast, and they only really catch Smurf out here. Striker gets in there! And they can't dig him back out again. Gator up on the payload there. Not much more they could do than to throw out those hyperspheres. And a time extension for the Shock now with 2 minutes left to play.
It doesn't seem like from the player cams on the stage though, that Atlanta's flustered. It seems like everybody's remaining calm in the comms. You know, trying to get battle back through this. Seems like these final fights for both of these points go in favor of the Shock. It's really backbreaking for Atlanta. Now Coalescence to start it off.
Sinatra really didn't get started in that fight, Matt. Talk about feast or famine for Doomfist. That was a perfect example of the latter. And Erster, who's, if you know a bit of German, name means first. You know that even his moniker is created around wanting to go for #1.
That's what we talked about with Doomfist. You go in, you go with a punch. If you hit one, great, you may end up with a kill.
If you hit a fortified Orisa, you're in trouble.
If not, there's the halt there, the accretion. You need a lot of help to be able to get out.
All right, another big Gravitic Flux opportunity coming up for Trick Open. Keep an eye on Erster. Playing the bridge, Sinatra knows that he's there as well. Accretion, no connection. Striker comes off second best in that head-to-head. The trade is there though. Gator's down, Meteor striking close quarters. Troy Hoban throws that one up, ideally defensively there. He gets taken down by his own splash damage, but this is going to be enough. It's messy, very messy. And it won't guarantee the Shock a map completion, but it keeps them going.
It gives them a good opportunity to do so. They're going to have to go back and escort some players for their final push here, potentially, but you do have the supercharger from Pokpo. No support ultimates to deal with it. Gator also going to get close to the Gravitic Flux with no support ultimates for the Shock. So 28 seconds left. The Shock needed to invest into that last fight, but Atlanta has an opportunity to stall this out a while to get these big ultimates.
Yeah, Shock maybe just playing for extra distance and nothing more. Smurf shield gets burst down just as he's drawn in with the halt. Gator sitting back but accruing a lot of damage via the hyperspheres and almost ready to let it go. Violet, he's trying to charge Coalescence. He's actually throwing damage orbs in.
They have to get the Coalescence. That's how they would survive the Gravitic Flux.
Oh, Sinatra! Doesn't last long. Gets involved. Baby Way cleans him up quickly. This Gravitic Flux. Yeah, this could be the nail in the coffin here. Smurf goes down to Baby Bay. The rest of the Shock can drop down. Gator's looking for an accretion hit on towards the Reaper. Striker eventually falls. Baby Bay with his third in the fight. That'll do it! And again, the Atlanta Reign are able to set up their win condition. The Shock push a long way through this map, though, and Rialto is treacherous, to say the very least.
So Rialto can be very good on the defensive side. You see the Atlanta Reign. You believe that's Pokpo with his...
Well, he's playing Orisa. What do you expect?
He's just getting knocked all over the place. The Doomfist coming in, the Reaper, it's really difficult. for the Orisas to
do
any type of ground, really is. But for Atlanta, you know, like you mentioned, you know exactly where you need to get the cart to win this map. The Shock, you're like, oh, well, you know, maybe at home, you're like, oh, well, they needed to hold on to some of those ultimates. Well, you don't use those ultimates with 20, 30 seconds on the clock. You may not even get the cart around that corner and even inside down the street. So that was their best chance to get a map completion. It doesn't work out in their favor as Atlanta can play pretty defensive around both shields, a lot of the pillars inside. I was wondering, you know, with Atlanta just kind of talking a mile a minute up there, whether they were going to come out with something a little bit cheesy here.
Well, they're trying to mix something up on the fly. Can you imagine the coaching staff here that they're going to change something? They're setting the dugout at such a crucial juncture.
Just about to like run out onto the stage.
Sephi's just losing it. Right, so it will be a Bastion setup.
I mean, I was, and honestly, if there was something that you would try here,
let's try it once.
It would be a Bastion on the cart. The double shield, the immortality field, it's something that if they were going to run the Doom Reaper on defense, you may be able to take advantage of. Let's see if they stick on it, though.
Well, there won't be extra innings one way or another. And this is Atlanta Reign's last attacking push of the series.
It'll be interesting how the Shock decide to play this. You can't really get as aggressive as you would like. I know the immortality field will keep the Bastion alive. Urster also can get into the supports on the back line. Does it look like they're going to get off of the cart?
They're leaving
take the high ground here.
So they leave the cart. They're going to try and win a fight here now. I wonder what happens if the Shock don't give them a fight. They're just trying to get Baby Bay up here. They'll keep moving it. Oh, what is that? Okay. Baby Bay 180s to the ground. And they flip the script on the Shock. No casualties yet. No, Baby Bay doesn't have good sight lines.
They have to push up because you can contest the cart from right inside there. A lot like on Junkertown. In that first choke point, you can contest the cart from inside.
I mean, look, you love being Doomfist here, Matt. There's no walls on your side, plenty on theirs.
Sinatra goes to Tracer here. What do you see Striker play? Do you play the Reaper
Faith
still?
on the Reaper. I mean, no, you can't play Sombra.
No, I mean, I think the Reaper still is a good pick here. Violet will have Coalescence, so you try and Coalescence. I mean, try and fight this.
Ursa's playing that high ground position right now. Ready to pounce. The Shock step forward. Baby Bay had to be in recon mode for a brief period of time. Now back into Sentry. Spraying the bullets. That was Poke. Yep, into the drink. Nothing Chukyoben could have done. Couldn't even have saved himself with the Gravitic Flux and the Atlanta Rain. This is looking pretty good. Almost 5 minutes on the dial.
Let's take a look at this on a Choi yet again. So, ooh, it's right around the corner. Sigma's feet not big enough to stay on the map there. Sigma's feet have been a hot topic of conversation. Not good enough
yeah,
there.
apparently. Don't know why it's such a thing, but it's fine. Smurf on the Wrecking Ball. That's the switch up. Okay, Amplification Matrix place on the payload. Immortality field also there. So they're pretty safe right now, right? Until that expires and it has dust done. Striker gets rid of Master, but the Shock have lost Smurf here. They've really lost the battering ram. And Ursta's just doing guard duty around the payload, but Striker's able to come through and get 2 quick kills. He gets rid of Urstra and Baby Bay. There has to be more than that, though, and it just isn't.
Masa will come back on the Lucio. He's probably going to go back, though, and try and get Baby Bay. You need Baby Bay back on the cart.
Smurf's on the high ground.
Sinatra did a good job. He was actually occupying Dogman in the back line, but the Moira can defend themselves against Tracer pretty well. Wasn't able to finish that kill off.
Smurf is trying to spawn camp this Bastion. I think Striker might try and play from a similar angle here. Urst has to get out. He's way too far forward. Tank mode configuration. It has to be a sound barrier for the Shot to keep themselves alive, and even that isn't enough. Chukyoben, Kinetic Grasp eats up a lot of those rockets from the tank mode configuration, but Baby Bay now is going to get the old pea shooter out, have a crack at it. Forces Sinatra away. Smurf is down, and that's another checkpoint. The Rain have all the time in the world.
It's a ton of time. I mean, for Atlanta, this feels like an eternity. You have no ultimates, but still they have shown that they have not been able to get this Bastion off of the payload. That they have just rolled the payload on through the map. 4 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock to get this done. Chukyoben does have that Gravitic Flux. You think he's going to be able to land a good one. Everybody's playing on the card.
Baby Bay again, looking for the Doomfist, hit with accretion! Smurf gets him, but he gives his last for it. Ursa's looking pretty bad in the back line though. Low health and Dogman also going to be removed. The Shock finally break the Bastion. But there's so much time left for the Rain to come up with something new.
You have to play perfect here for San Francisco down the stretch. They're going to try and match you in the Reaper Doomfist here as we move in towards the final parts of this map. Sound barrier available for Masa here. You know they just used the Gravitic Flux. You can use this offensively now. Just kind of use the Reaper as a battering ram. Go on forward.
The Shock have to dig deep like we may never have seen them before. To win out here. Trickover knocked up, accretion. Oh, Ursa!
So you do lose Ursa here early. You're going to lose this fight. The small benefit of it, though, is that they used the Coalescence and you didn't use anything. You were probably going to Sound Barrier there, but Ursa dies so quick that you don't have the opportunity to use it. Now you come back. Look at this for Atlanta. You're gonna have 5 ultimates here. You have both support ultimates. You're gonna have the Gravitic Flux. You're gonna have the Supercharger. Like, you're in a great spot. Like, imagine if they didn't have the Sound Barrier here, or let's say they didn't use the Coalescence. That's a lot of extra abilities they would not have on the table. Really strong ones as well.
Best chance for Atlanta now. They have to make it count. Death Blossom defensively from Striker. Gravitic Flux is gonna knock him up, and Poke gets him in midair. Sinatra gets rid of Baby, but Ursa's looking for more now. They've got the kills. The final checkpoint isn't far away, but will require potentially another fight.
Coalescence here for the Shock.
Wrecking Ball for Smurf. He has to switch to something more mobile now. Can he even touch the Shock? They have to step up to the plate now in a big way. Accretion thrown in, shielded up. Smurf going to drop down with a pile driver. Sound barrier now for the Shock, and they are chopping at the bit. Refusing to let their house be taken over. Gravitic Flux catches 2, and they're down.
It's a lot, though.
They had to. I mean, they had nothing at the start of that fight. But again, Matt, those support ultimates have to be blown just to keep the Shock in this match.
I mean, yeah, we're talking about, you know, like, you see how close the distance is at the top of the screen. Like, you're talking about a minimal amount of distance to get this for Atlanta. And you have a minute 50. You're looking at like 2-3 fights maybe if you're Atlanta, depending on how fast you start going here. Coalescence could be huge.
Now, Masa is credited with being a very good ult tracker. Let's see if he's been able to follow these fights so far. We know that the Shock have nothing to work with ultimate-wise. It's all old-fashioned kills here. Left to right click, baby. Masa playing safe here, boot away. Ursa's very low, though. The Shock are really grouping up together, but that causes Smurf to get taken down. He's a Death Blossom. Oh, no! It's cut short. Violet gets the Coalescence just in time. 2 Coalescences and 2 fights. Is it enough? Moth and Violet both knocked away now. The Sound Barrier going to be coming out for the Atlanta Rain. Death Blossom from Striker and Baby Bear respectively find little each. But Poke's missing. Asta gets Moth. Big rocket punch across. Meteor Strike from Sinatra doesn't get anything, but he at least is back in the fray, and Ursa is overwhelmed. Masa's chased down, and they've done it again!
They've had 4 minutes plus, Atlanta, to get from point B to the golden box to victory. It is so close that they have not been able to crack the Shock's defense in this choke.
San Francisco on the precipice, man.
The Shock, the only thing that could get the Shock in trouble here is Poke gets the Supercharger. You may have to use his Sound Barrier, and then you don't have it for the Gravitic Flux.
30
That's how
seconds.
Atlanta wants to combo.
Gravitic Flux, Skater had to be a Sound Barrier. Smurf able to stay alive, but for how long? A Flux also coming out from the Shock. Smurf is down. Masa is removed. It's a 1-for-1, but Poke supercharges. No!
Oh, no, they gave it! They got
What?
What? They walked off the car! No way! Unbelievable!
The Shock are stunned. What a series.
Possibly the greatest team in the league this year has just committed a cardinal sin of Overwatch. They walk off the card in the Atlanta Rain, pull off one of the most exciting attacking pushes we have seen. And yeah, they look calm right now, but I guarantee you inside, they are all aflutter.
The push was good from Atlanta, but that was all Shock at the end. 4 minutes plus on the clock.
They had to win
The
in that
Shock
fight.
had to hold it, and they had the advantage in that fight. You know, they lose Smurf at the beginning.
Violet was about to get coalescence in that fight. He was 95% of his ultimate when the round ended.
Let's take a look at this again. This is wild. I mean, take a look from the overhead. So the gravitic flux comes down, sound barrier, and Halt comes in.
Oh, he's in the air. And
Choi's off the point.
Yeah, it was Smurf getting taken down. He was supposed to be the closest.
And there's 4 players in the back trying to deal with Erster. And they just, maybe they thought that Choi was going to get on it. Maybe they thought they had one of the supports in position. And nobody was there.
We need to collect ourselves up here a little bit now. And I'm quite sure it's the same for the players. We're going to head down to the floor and hear from Emily and Baby Bay.
Thanks, Mitch and Matt. I'm here with Baby Bay. What a tremendous game for the Atlanta Reign. Blizzard Arena, can we get some love for the Atlanta Reign? Congrats, Baby Bay. Well deserved. And I know leading up to this match, you were, telling everyone on Twitter that you really wanted to go against your old team. There was a lot on the line for you. So how does it feel going from bench boy to baby beam?
I mean, I'm sure they're kind of upset right now, for sure. I can't even believe we won. I'm still shaking like this. It's just insane. And honestly, big shout out to the Shock guys, because without them, I would not have been in the position I'm at to even be able to beat them. I was going through a lot of stuff last season. I had my ups and downs, and Krusty and that coaching staff and all the players really helped get my confidence up and make me pop off in Atlanta Reign.
All right. And your next match would be against the NYXL, whom you guys have beat twice. So how does it feel going into that match? Easy clap, let it rain?
I mean, if they lose this next time, I don't even know what they're going to do with themselves. So I'm sure they're going to try really hard, and it's going to be an awesome series. I don't know if it'll beat this series. This was like the craziest series I've ever played. Both teams adapted to each other's play halfway through, like map to map. So I don't think it'll be as close as this one, but I still think we're going to win.
For sure. Well, good luck to you in the Atlanta Reign. And now we have a very special gift for a very special fan. There we go. Hi there, what's your name?
Mason.
Hi, Mason. Well, this is for you. And now you have to hug. So sweet. Well, thank you, Baby Bay and the Atlanta Reign. Mitch and Matt, back to you guys.
I mean, Baby Bay mentioned that it was, one of his most exciting games to play in. Great to hear from him there in our Coca-Cola victory moment. That was astonishing way to finish a series. It seemed to us, at least as we were casting, that the Shock were going to take it away. Now, things get a little bit harder. Things get a little bit complicated. The script is no longer operating as it was written. The Reign move forward now, a fated rematch against a team that they have never lost to. The NYXL versus the Atlanta Reign in that upper bracket game.
It's a huge win here for Atlanta. One, because you knocked the Shock down to losers, right? Which is huge just for you, everybody else. I'm sure everybody else is extremely happy. But also you go up against a team you beat twice throughout the season.
And a Shock Spitfire lower bracket game.
You know what, though, with the way the Shock looked today, they still looked really good. Although they end up losing the series, it's going to be a gauntlet for them, though, to get back. You drop down to that loser bracket in round 1. It is a long trip back to that grand final.
Even if they manage to beat London, they play the loser of the LA Gladiators and the Vancouver Titans.
Yes.
It doesn't get any easier for them right now. Pretty insane stuff. We have a special moment to get some words here from off from the San Francisco Shock backstage with Mika after a very rough loss.
Thanks, guys. You're right. I am standing here with Moth, and that was an incredibly close match. So I have to know, what was your preparation going into today's match?
I mean, we just we spent a ton of time trying to figure out how this new patch was played. It's a lot similar to GOATS in that one composition is pretty dominant on a lot of maps, on a lot of points. So we did a ton of prep into like positioning and different styles, and yeah, we figured Atlanta would play a pretty aggressive style, and they did, and they played it incredibly well.
Absolutely. And taking what you've learned today in your match, what will the San Francisco Shock have to do to take on and beat London in the next game you have coming up?
We're just going to have to work even harder. London's team, I think we're really confident against. We'll review their VODs and work even harder to make our way through the loser bracket.
Absolutely. And you guys played such a great day today, and I know that you're going to come out and you're going to kick it, and good luck to you, Moth. And that's all we have here. Back to you, Mitch and Matt.
Thank you very much, Miku. And the buffer is now gone for the San Francisco Shock. They cannot afford any more of those series losses. The Atlanta Reign, though, man,
what a game.
That is one of the craziest games that I've sort of seen, especially the finale of it. But going match for match was incredible. Our Omen player of the match is Gator for dominance on Sigma across the whole series, man. This guy is a treat to watch.
And I would say from Moth's loser interview there, they talked about how the Reign were going to play an aggressive style in this matchup of the meta. And Gator is the one who set that aggression. Like the team talked about during their halftimes, like taking these off angles, a lot of extra damage on the Sigma, and really good gravitic fluxes. And it really threw the Shock off guard at times. And I feel like, you know, in the battles of the Sigmas, you know, head to head, I feel like Gator really performed strong today.
I mean, we definitely saw that, right? A lot of accretion plays as well. I mean, Gator, he got hit with a rock when he went for a gravitic flux there on Rialto. I thought that would sort of be the end of it. But this team's incredible, you know, especially with Gator in the mix. He seems like such a great fit,
It's
right?
a bit of a wild card.
Yep, they love playing aggressively. They love playing no respect. And this is the kind of team that doesn't care how long you've been first place for, how many golden stages you have, or what your win-loss record is. They're here to come and play the game. And this seems like their time. This seems like their patch to dominate, Matt. What a day of games that we saw today. Obviously, London Spitfire dropping down a lower bracket, NYXL advancing. Coming up on Watch Point, we're going to discuss plenty of that. Talk about NYXL. We're going to talk about this last game and another close look at the playoff bracket on Watch Point. Stick around for that. We'll be back just after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. And by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.